What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Season Gaming Bitcast, episode 258. I'm your host, Ainsley Bowden, with our regular cast of characters back with you today. Dapper, you're going with the ultra dapper look yet again this week, my friend. How we doing, Mr. Travis?
I'm doing well. I woke up early enough to get in my full apparel, and I'm feeling good. Mostly because I have to.
This is an all-nighter Travis.
This is
last week it was all-nighter Travis.
That's true. Let's see. That all-nighter Travis, he didn't have to get dressed at all. He just sat down in a chair.
Thank you, though. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, very good. This Travis had to get dressed early because he has to leave right after this, which is rare for me, having to leave the house. I'm not working on a review right now, guys. I got 2 reviews this next week, but I don't have either of the codes right now, so I'm just chilling. I'm playing through Remnant 2, and I'm happy to be here. Fresh off of that Lawyers and Dragons appearance where I play the utter panjandrum Captain Leox Fraud Esquire.
We were gonna get to that.
Okay, well we'll get to it. But yeah, it was a good time yesterday. It was great.
Nice. I did not
lay out
watch
your
it.
clothes. Like I feel like Travis is one of the guys that lays their clothes out on like a specific, like you have a specific piece of furniture, like at the foot of your bed or something, where like your clothes are all laid out in the morning.
I think Dan's just revealing his clothing strategies, Travis.
Oh no, mine's in a big basket.
Have you seen Dan's background? I promise you he doesn't do this.
No way.
I feel like Dan's one of those guys who puts all of his laundry straight out of the dryer onto a chair, and then he feasts off of that for the week. Pulls it out of the chair.
No, it's in. I just said it's a basket.
Okay,
it's a basket that sits next to my bed.
I think your basket might be an old chair.
I have like a ton of shirts that hang up, and then like 4 pairs of shorts.
Okay, so wait, does the basket, so the clothes come out of the dryer into the basket, and then the basket becomes the receptacle from which you draw your clothes?
I like the passive voice there, like it's magically being laundered.
Yeah, I have another basket for.
So then,
dirty clothes.
What about dirty clothes? You have dirty. For that. Do you ever get them confused? Are they labeled in any way?
Look completely different. One's
ladies and gentlemen, the Season Gaming Bitcast.
Yeah,
we're off and running.
I don't need all this crap. Basket.
To answer your question, I have a hanger, like on the wall in the closet.
Okay,
and
that makes sense.
I grab the next one on the line and I put it up there, and I try to put absolutely no thought into what I wear. I just grab the next thing that's on the line, whatever that ends up being. I have it automated, so I never think of what I'm wearing.
People just kind of want to see behind the scenes a little bit. I think.
There you go.
Okay.
Sure.
Right.
Well, I'm hardly in a position to judge with my sweatshirts and ball caps. So,
Speaking of, rocking a new ball cap this morning, not the hoeglaw cap. You've got the Michigan cap this morning. How we doing, Mr. Hoeg?
I'm doing A-okay. It's Sunday morning. We're having fun. It's the best year in video games history. I'm enjoying it.
Truly it is.
Yes.
My goodness.
It's wild. Yeah, for sure.
So
and of course,
what's your morning thing like, Hoeg? Like you and I are both like kind of like cartoon characters, right? Like we're always wearing the same outfit regardless. And what's your morning routine like? I feel like we should dive in here because we know Dan. He's predictably just a hot mess. Wakes up every morning, brushes his teeth with Bacardi, grabs one of the shirts from the bin, the basket he has next to his bed.
Well, now that I'm taking care of myself, as it were.
Yeah,
I have a lot more medical things that happen. So I take off my my breathing mask from my sleep cycle, and then I go to what we call right now the Hoeg Health Happy Hour, where I take all my various medications that are apparently keeping me alive, and eat some food with those. Because if you don't eat food with those, you will die of stomach cramps later on. So, my morning routine is getting out of bed, taking my medicine, eating a little bit of food, and then finding where I put one of my now 17 sweatshirts that I use for rehab and moving about. And then I have my wife put these up. I'm looking at one right now. A series of kind of like belt straps that have little hooks where you put hats. So I have like 3 or 4 doors. The doors to my office here, the doors to my bedroom closet that just have hats. And I pick what hat I'm going to wear.
Nice.
So your hat is the kind of like you making a little personality decision.
Yes, that's my choice for the day.
That's his tie.
Excellent.
Is his hat?
Yeah, it's Hat Guy Hogue.
Some people, you know, they like that. Like my fiance loves the choice of like, how am I feeling today? When she travels, she grabs like 3 times more clothes than she needs because she never knows how she's going to feel on the day. Which insane to me. You know, to me, my goal is to not make any decisions if I don't have to. Because you know, I get making decisions is exhausting when you do it a lot, and I don't need a morning decision of what am I going to wear. It's just too
No,
much.
absolutely. I mean, I think I'm similar in that all my clothes look roughly the same.
Right. So you can just grab whatever. That's great.
I laugh, but I'm the same way. Yeah.
I'm excited for Ains's opening because I feel like
you get to a point where you're, you know, it's just you take on like the dad clothes, you know. I got like cargo shorts and a t-shirt, and I've got like whatever those compression diabetic socks, you know, that go up to about like midway in my ankle, you know, that are super comfortable.
Oh, I guess I should point out that yes, I'm constantly in hospital socks with the sticky bottoms.
They're the best. They are the best.
That
I think he's in hospital socks for a reason, Dan, and you're in hospital socks for a very different reason. I mean,
yeah. So back in January, of course, everybody's worried. I have a fall risk bracelet on all the time, and everybody's constantly hovering over me. And so we have a bunch of these socks that have essentially sticky bottoms that prevent you from falling for the most part.
Yeah.
Non-slip socks.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, this is great.
This is
why people tune in, man.
Yeah, this is gaming chatter at its finest right here, no doubt.
This is why
it's good to know the guests. I think it's good to know the hosts a little bit. I feel I'm excited to hear Ains's morning story because I feel like it involves powder or some kind. Let me hear. What do you got? What powders are you putting into a shake or something?
Oh, you're a little different, right?
Yeah, I mean that's fair. You nailed that one. Yeah, that's true.
Did I?
So,
yeah, I knew it. Yeah,
you did actually.
People eat Rocky montage and powder. Drinking some raw eggs.
No, not that crazy. No, yeah, I think Dan pretty much nailed it. It's I have about 80 t-shirts. And I work from home now, so I don't have to obviously be business casual or tie or anything anymore. So it's whatever gaming t-shirt. I'd say 95% of my t-shirts are gaming t-shirts nowadays. Here's Extra Life as an example. So whatever gaming t-shirt, and instead of cargo shorts like Dan, it is track shorts. So Adidas, Reebok, whatever, you know, something comfortable. And then protein shake and some coffee. That's how we do it.
Protein shake. There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Knew it.
Yeah. Or protein cereal and coffee.
I like to think this is putting the seasoning in seasoned gaming.
That's right.
I usually get up and then I sit at the edge of my bed for about 30 minutes, wondering how I'm still alive, and then like kind of like, you know, trying to just get, you know, awake enough to like stand up. And
he's like a 386 processor, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's been around a long time. He's got to
why are you still sitting there? I'm like, I'm getting there.
No, honestly, if I had to guess how Dan begins his day, I would guess 30 minutes of staring into the middle distance as a ringing tone gets progressively louder until something snaps him out of it. That would have been my guess. Yeah.
Which is his wife, like, Dan.
Are you gonna get up? Are you gonna do anything today? And then he goes,
I mean, I get up pretty early. It's just, you know, the 30-minute time is just like
that's your me time.
Yeah. I just look at the floor.
What
is happening?
Yeah.
God damn it! I got to go through this again. Yeah.
How many days are there?
Too much.
Oh my God! All right, we've done the intro. I'm done with the intro at this point.
Right? Yeah.
Welcome to a gaming show. Apparently. So today, oh man, chat, good to see you this morning. We're going to be talking about mostly games today, as ridiculous as that sounds, given that intro. But not a lot of huge news topics this week, but an awful lot of games to talk about, an awful lot of games we've been playing. So we'll get to a whole bunch of that, of course. Before we jump into that, starting with Remnant 2, by the way, we're going to kick it off with, of course. But I want to give a thanks for last week's episode. So last week's episode, as we sit here right now, is just about to hit or approaching 10,000 combined views, listens from last week. So big show for us. A handful of Bitcasts have passed kind of the 10,000 mark. So that's just amazing. Appreciate you all tuning in. And, as we always say, if you have an extra minute or two to give us a review on the audio sites, be it Apple Podcasts or Spotify, if you're a user of either of those, or obviously both channels, it definitely just helps. That's all. So we appreciate that so much. Thanks for hanging out with us. And why don't we jump over? Wait. Before we get to that, we have a Googleman.
Oh, here comes Googleman.
We got to get our pre-Bitcast Googleman in. So let's get it.
Bring it on. All right. With the €5. Thank you again, Googleman. What is, I can't really, I'm looking at it.
It's a cat.
Okay.
It's a cat. Yeah.
All right.
I've done the same thing.
All right. Yeah, I can't really blow it up. All right. Someone thought making another season of Futurama show would be a good idea. Rembrandt 2 looks pretty fun. Reese's Pieces. I can get on board with that last one, man.
I don't know what Rembrandt 2 is. Wait, they're making more Futurama? Did I miss this?
Yeah, that's on Hulu, I think.
But new episodes.
Yeah, new season. Yep.
They've done
I
this
gotta believe
a couple times.
Rembrandt 2 is a reference to Remnant 2.
Oh,
It is.
Oh, Rembrandt 2. Sorry.
okay, that makes sense.
It's early.
That makes sense. Yeah.
My mind is on clothing attire, apparently.
Yeah.
Why do they keep bringing Futurama back? I love Futurama, but it seems weird to kind of just let it die every 10 years.
It's a cartoon. The animated shows can exist forever because you don't have to, worry about people getting old and stuff,
Writers matter, though. Is it the same writers? I don't know. Doesn't matter. We're off topic again.
It's just that kind of day.
Yeah,
writers change in shows. That's normal.
That's true. Sometimes for the better. We hope will happen with Halo.
That'd be good. I mean, could you change them for the worse? Is that possible? Are there people in business right now?
You'd have to reach for sure. Bottom of the barrel. I mean, everyone's on strike. Maybe they just pull a couple people off the street and see what happens. I don't know. You got a 50-50 shot of it being worse at that point.
We found out how Hogan friends feel about strike and unions.
Hat guy Hogan friends to you, sir.
Hat guy Hogan. Yeah.
Thank you, though, Google, and appreciate you. So, let's kick off our game discussion and what we're playing because, like I said, bunch of games to talk about. But let's kick it off with Remnant 2. We gave impressions last week. Travis gave what he could last week talking about it, and I added some context from Elu, who did our review. Reviews are out now. Reviews seem to be very high on this game, which is fantastic to see. Right, it's sitting in kind of a low mid 80s meta, which I would call this a AA game. It is it's great to see, and at least anecdotally for me, my timeline, tons and tons of friends playing it, tons and tons of friends really enjoying it. Obviously, I hopped in Friday for the first time, and I am exhausted because I have spent the past 2 nights up way too late playing it. I think I am at 10 or 11 hours, and that was since Friday night. And I've been playing other things and also have things in real life to take care of. So it's a lot of time I've put into Remnant 2 so far. But I'm really enjoying it. I read your review, obviously read Elu's. You guys said a lot of the same things, to be fair. So I think I agree with you guys wholeheartedly. The thing I like about it most, and I know you can touch more on this, Travis, as you've spent a lot more time with it. The thing I like about it most is really just the kind of the surprise effect of it. You never know what you're going to run into. The levels kind of surprise you. There's puzzles hidden that just pop up out of nowhere that you have no idea what's going on about. And a lot of different kind of things you can find for your character that just add new wrinkles to playing. So it does the kind of randomized / loot ARPG kind of aspects, I think, really well, which, that's right up my alley. So really enjoying it.
Yeah. So I gave Remnant 2 my 5th, I believe, 9 out of 10 on the site, which is a pretty rare score for me. I'm very, very happy that game turned out as well as it did. It is very, very fantastic. Whether it's the gameplay, which feels very, very good. It's just fun to run around and kill things in that game. And then the thing you alluded to, Ains, which is the procedurally generated levels are very good. I mean, they keep it fresh for as long as it has. I played 80 hours at this point, so I played about 60 hours during the review period, and then I started a new playthrough on Xbox because I'm playing through it with my fiance, who didn't see me play it during the review because she was out of town. So she's just like basking in the weirdness of that game. And it's just really cool that you can, hop into the game and immediately get teleported into a random realm, and then your realm be completely different than your friend's one. And even if you guys end up in the same world, you can get different storylines and stuff. And so it's very addicting to just like re-roll areas to see what else can happen and try to get the storyline that you didn't get the first time. And the game is also, and I think players are still figuring this out, but it's the reason I'm still playing, which is this game is jam packed with secrets, like stuff to discover. I think there's still 3 archetypes that nobody has found in the world. And those are entirely like character classes basically that are super hidden. Yesterday I found another archetype myself through some random exploring. So it's really interesting to get those unlocks. And then also rings and amulets and weapons and armor that like you can get by doing crazy stuff that I don't want to spoil, but like do things in that game and experiment, and you will be surprised how much thought the developers put into like every possible thing. There was this one mission I was doing yesterday where a character dies kind of as part of the story, but then I was like, I wonder if you can save that person. And it turns out you can save that person if you do some other stuff, but also if the person dies, you can come back to that area later and then get another item from their body through. It's just like every time I try something and I'm like, I wonder if I could do that. The answer is always like, yeah, you can do that. Like, what if you try the other story or try to get a different ending? Will that result in you getting a different item? And like, I'm just never disappointed. I'm never like, oh, that's too bad that the same thing happens. Like that just hasn't really happened in this game, which is super cool. So yeah, I'm just having a ton of fun with it. It's a great game, and I hope more people play it because Ainge, you called it AA. When the game started development, it was,
and that's not meant in a bad way, of course, right?
No. Yeah, no. I would say that the fact that it feels AA is a pretty good achievement from the studio that started with 30 people on this game and is still like sub 100. I think they have like 70 people on the Remnant team right now. And that just super passionate team, worked like heck to make this feel like a sequel. And kind of the overview of my review is, this is, I think, Remnant's like Borderlands 2. Like it feels like that much of a leap, right? Like where the first game was just sort of a good first draft, but it failed in a lot of key areas in terms of like feeling like a polished game and missing some of the features that you would expect from the game like that. But it had a really good idea, and I think they stuck to that idea and expanded on it and just nailed it with this one. And I'm super excited to see where it goes from here, because we got some DLC on the horizon and some other stuff they're doing. So
I was talking to the developer that you introduced me to this week as our review was coming out, and talking to him, and he was it was kind of funny actually how naive he sounded to the reception, because I think they were so heads down on just like launch is coming, just getting everything ready for launch. And I was saying that talking about our review a little bit and kind of the excitement for it and stuff, and he was obviously super excited, so I shared our review and my comments with him. But he said very similar, excuse me, that their goal was to make this their kind of Diablo 2 moment, right? Which, if you're familiar with Diablo 2 compared to Diablo 1 was like this massive step up. And to your point, Travis, they just put a ton of effort and love into the game. And I think that's one of the things that really stands out to me is you can tell playing this game, and Elu said this in his review, you can tell playing this game, it's a game made by people who love games and who had a lot of passion for developing this game specifically, right? You can tell it's not just a money grab or, anything looking for monetization or any of this other stuff. It's a game. This sounds really cliche, I realize, but it's a gamer's game. It just feels, you can tell it's made with love. And I think that's really cool. So
well, one thing that's interesting here, right? And you rarely hear me say this, especially about Travis being positive about something, is I think he's underselling it a little, which is that, this is a multiverse type game. You're popping into different worlds, you're popping into different times and timelines. And I think one of the things that people are always looking for out of that type of approach is big swings right? Really dramatic stuff, really weird things. And oftentimes you get disappointed, right? You go to see something called the Multiverse of Madness, and they basically go nowhere and do nothing, and it's all very sad. But in this one, the very first thing that I wound up doing in my playthrough is I wind up on a spaceship at the end of time, right?
Oh,
and then,
okay.
Like, those are the kinds of swings that this game is taking. And it's just so nice to be like, oh, okay, well, we're in this really interesting space. Then the next thing you do is going to be completely different. I made a tweet that said it was the best Doctor Who game that never existed because it's just these really big, dramatic, kind of somewhat soapy storylines in all these very different places. And on top of that, you know, he mentioned rings and amulets and things. And I've also been playing Diablo 4 at the same time. And it has great loot as well. But a lot more of that is 5.8% instead of 5.6%. And what this game does with its loot is what I always want loot-based games to do, which is let's do this really weird thing, right? When you pickups, you're going to get 10% shield. You're going to do things that are completely going to change your build off of this ring that you found on a pedestal somewhere. And on top of that, if you go in and you look at the kind of really high-resolution 3D image of that ring, you're going to get a description of the ring and then a bit of lore about the place you found it in, and then you're going to get described to you what weird thing it does. And it all builds together into what I love, right? I've said this a lot. I'm a narrative guy first, which is all these places are built around concepts that are then reinforced by the archetypes you find, the rings and amulets you find, the characters you talk to, and none of them are like, oh, I wish that would have been a little bit more interesting. It's not just a spaceship in somewhere. It's a spaceship in the center of the universe at the end of time. It's like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy chapter. And it's all really big. And I really love being in that space, even though, as I also said to Travis outside of this show, I've been having difficulty navigating that space because it's the first one that I was in, and it's very vertical. It's got a lot of elevators and things. Just tend to throw my map reading. And I've gotten it a little bit better, but it's a fun game.
Yeah. Also, I didn't talk about this in my review, but it does have one of the better maps in games, like ever, because it makes it, you can fully manipulate it like 3D, look at every single thing and try to find all the places you didn't go to. But then also the map lies to you because it has secret parts that don't appear on the map until you've discovered them. And so you'll fall down a thing and find like a secret floor you didn't know about and stuff. So I've become extremely familiar with the map as somebody who's aggressively trying to find every secret I can in the game. So it's been pretty cool, and helping out the guides team as well, because the guides team is trying to document this. And I must say, this is one of the hardest games to make a guide for, because you don't even know which realm somebody's going to end up in,
right?
Or which storyline they're going to get. And even if you narrow that down, because there are only 6 options between the 3 major realms you go to, each of them has 2 options. Even if you nail that down, the nodes and specific events and side quests are different and might not be in the same place, even if you get the same. So like, my version of Nerud and my fiance's, we got the same story in Nerud, the same one that you got actually, Hoeg. But then she had this side quest that was this whole thing, and I had one that was completely different, where I was trying to fix an AI, and in her account, the AI was completely fixed. And it was just like, all the access to different things and different quests and items you couldn't get, and just small stuff like that, where you're like, you're gonna have to play this game a lot if you want to like get everything, which I think is so cool.
It's got that kind of board game components, card flip type of notionality that I really like. But I think the one thing I would add on that is the map is interesting because it is very useful. It's like the antithesis of the Jedi Survivor map or Jedi Fallen Order map. But because of that functionality, it's also, in my opinion, when you first start the game, it's the thing that looks the most double or single A. It is very kind of old Doom game, kind of straight out of Dark Forces, very contrasty, but not very interesting to look at, mini map and main map. And so I think one thing is I wish it were a little bit sexier. I wish it were a little bit shinier, but it is very functional, and I think that is more important at the end of the day.
Yeah. And also it must be hard to make a map at all for a game with procedural generation, because I can only imagine like You know, it
That's probably why they have to simplify it.
It's probably why it's simplified, because they have to place all the objects randomly and then try to build a map around that. So I feel like
it does remind me of the old Diablo 2 map. Like, if
it does remind me of Diablo. I honestly think that they probably took inspiration from there. They're like, it doesn't need to be fancy, just make it like easy to understand where you're at, and there you go, boom. You know,
yeah, it's really bright markers on a pretty dull looking map, but it is very functional. So that's not as much of a complaint as something I noticed when I first started, which is like when I first put the game on, I was like, well, that map is, ugh.
Yeah, I mean, you can see a lot of stuff that like could be improved if they had a bigger budget, and I think that's the exciting part about this. Hopefully these guys are able to keep making Remnant and keep making games that they want to make and that sort of thing. And it's just cool to see. You know, I never judge a game based on the situation around its development, how many people it had, or how big of a budget it has. But
we had that conversation last week.
We had the conversation last week, but it is always very, very nice to see a team overcome any development challenges or limitations they have and put something out that could stand neck to neck with some of the biggest budgeted games of the year. And to me, you know, this and Diablo as recent examples of really big games that just nailed what they're doing. You know, those have very different teams and very different budgets, and it's just cool to see Gunfire Games punch so hard above their weight. And I just think people are really going to love this, and I want everybody to play this game, because I think there's a lot of people who are sleeping on it, and if they didn't sleep on it, this would be one of the biggest games of the year, because it's so good. It's so much fun,
and it's standing out like this, like we're discussing, in a game that we just said, joking, I think everyone has said this, in probably the greatest game year for gaming of all time, right? Like, there's all these tremendous AAA big budget games.
This was a great week for games. I mean,
exactly.
We Pikmin 4 come out the same day. Pikmin 4 is real strong, y'all. I know we don't talk about the Nintendo games as much in this space, but Pikmin 4 is really, really strong. It's a big swing above Pikmin 3 even.
Okay. All right.
I will talk about Pikmin with you, Hoeg, because that is I haven't put enough time into it, but that game rocks. So
okay, we definitely want to. I wanted to stay on Remnant for 1 second.
Oh, no, of course.
But we've got because I wanted to comment on two things you said. One, you were talking about the secrets, Travis, and I saw that Ben over at Gunfire Games posted that they have hardcore testers, players that have been playing it obviously for weeks and months, that have over 400 hours. He posted, I think, like over 400 hours in the game, who still haven't found all the secrets in the game. So it's pretty much like endless, that they did that on purpose. The other thing, Hoeg, that I found interesting about you talking about the details on specific items, and then if you look at the description, the lore and stuff, that's very Dark Souls-ish. That's what From is known for, is that if you dive into those things and read all the description.
I think it plays a little bit more fair than the Souls series in terms of it's a little bit more in your face, right? Like the stuff about being at the end of time, like I would expect something like that from a From Software game if I read through 3 helmets and figure out exactly what this in this direction means. But that's a guy telling you all this, and then the stuff kind of feeds back into it. So it's just a slightly different flavor.
Yes, it is.
I agree with you that it's got a Dark Souls sensibility. I also think it's got that with respect to a lack of hand-holding, right? One of the things that I've kind of gotten used to, whether it's playing Diablo or Hogwarts Legacy or anything else, is following a line, right? Being told where to go. And like this one is, oh, you're in a very strange place. Here's the reason why it's strange. Go find these 3 things. And then I'm like, okay, where are my dots? Where's an exclamation point? Where is a diamond? Somewhere. It's like, nope, we're going to tell you when you've gone through a place. We're going to fill in that diamond for you. And that's about what you're going to get.
Yeah. Yep. Which is why I love it.
Awesome, man. What a good game. Good game.
The big question. Dan, did you buy it?
Yeah.
Nice. If we can get the Dans of the world to buy Remnant, this is going to be
the big question. Yeah.
Shit. All right, here's what people need to understand before they start going into it. It is a Souls-like game. It is difficult. It is not easy. All right.
You put it on the lower difficulty?
It's on the lowest difficulty it can get. If it were a lower difficulty, I'd be on it.
All right. What?
Hold on for a second, Travis. Shower this game with your praises. Give me a second here. It is a Souls game. All right. I was expecting
not really
a Souls-like. Listen, it's hard as hell. All right. It's not. It's great. I mean, I think there's a lot of it I like more than I like Souls games because I can't stand Souls games. There's a lot.
How dare you?
But anyway,
Throw a glove on the
this
ground.
one is a little bit different, but it's still difficult. All right, I don't care. It's I don't know how to describe it. Like, I feel like it's a really polished game. I haven't seen any bugs. I haven't seen
True.
any real
I have
problems with it. It's just the same thing. For me, it's just got guns and a big sword. I picked the tank guy. What was it? The Challenger.
Oh, I've got a dog.
That's a good one.
I was so happy to see a dog class. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah. The dog class is also the best class if you're playing solo, because you get a helper friend to distract and he revives you if it's your main class.
I need that, because the problem I have with games like this is that it's, to your point, Hope, it's kind of like, okay, well, there's really no here, you need to go in this direction, you need to go here. I kind of need that a little bit. Like, I have no idea what's happening. No clue.
So what realm did you get?
I got the Bloody Forest one.
Nice. Yesha. Great. Yeah. So the good thing about that map is that map is a pretty good starter map, because
is it?
Though it doesn't tell you which direction to go in initially, it does mark all of the gates you need to go through with the exclamation point over it. So as long as you follow those, you'll go through.
I didn't even know there was a map. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I didn't know.
There you go.
Aside from my mini map, until you guys
game
said
does
it.
not hold your hand.
Menus, Dan?
No.
It's just a different experience that we have, because like the first thing I do when I play a game is like go see what my tabs are and what I can do with my menus.
I didn't really look at the maps. The map that it brings up, it looks like
it's empty initially. Yeah, you might not know it was really a map at the beginning.
Right. Yeah, I didn't really understand. Here's how far I made it. I made it to the second, through one door. Basically, I got to V level and I made it through one door. I ran up against a tree that I was supposed to kill, apparently, but every time you get it, you hit it a few times, it launches more guys at you. They come out of absolutely everywhere. I try to literally back myself into a corner so I can just bottleneck them and have them filter into me. I'm like, I can take these guys if I, but then they start popping up behind me. I'm like, there's no way. There's a wall. There's a wall.
So you're in the forest world, and I'm guessing you have the lizards that are crawling down trees and stuff.
Lizards. These are, well, maybe.
Oh, are they the tentacle boys?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The tentacle boys, they are one of the tougher enemies because they shoot. Yeah. So Yesha has 3 versions. It has one where you end up inside an occult temple. It has one where you're in a wild forest with reptiles, and it has one where you're in floating platforms and there's tentacle squid boys that throw telekinesis at you. And if I had to rate the hardest, I would say the hardest one is the tentacle squid boys, because their attacks home in on you until you kill them, and then the attacks just go straight. And so it's pretty tough, actually. That you might want to re-roll your campaign. I mean, honestly, because you can do that with the menu. You should roll with the dog, because the dog distracts and has an ability where it howls and draws aggro.
The dog is awesome.
So the dog is pretty
good. I will vouch for the dog.
Or Dan, you could do this crazy thing and play with some friends.
No, I can't do
that. Well, I don't think you need to do that, actually.
You don't have to, but it's an option.
I think the game's easier alone, personally, because I really do think it is. You do so much damage and you have such high damage resistance if you're playing solo. I've played this extensively, and I had encounters where I would be with 3 people and the boss fight was just killing us, and then I'd be like, all right, guys, leave, go away, I don't want to play with you. And then I would just crush it my first try, just doing
it adjusts based on how many
it adjusts based on the number of people. And then
friendly fire game, so
it has friendly fire in it as well.
I'm never doing that to anybody. I'm not that mean.
Not friendly melee, just friendly shots.
Just friendly shots, and also no friendly AoE damages your friend. So they do it smartly. They make it so that you have to literally shoot at your teammate.
If you combine your AoE effects, you can really wreck groups pretty quickly.
Yeah, but I would say probably you should play with the dog, Dan, just to start, because
the dog will revive you too.
The dog revives you only if it's your main class. That's its prime perk, y'all. If it's not your main archetype, you don't get that power. But it does. Yeah, it does. You get a revive because you're the challenger. You get up automatically. But the problem with the challenger is that it is a close range attack where you use a shotgun by default, and that doesn't really jive with solo play because it means you have to be super mobile, and B, it doesn't help because you're fighting flying tentacle monsters. So I would switch out of that class immediately.
You have to be
like you should be playing another class,
and your gear has to be like super heavy, which then you lose that stamina. You have to basically take your helmet off. That's what I had to do. I had to take my helmet off so I didn't, I wasn't overweight.
It's just Dan naked with the shotgun.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like,
screaming in the forest.
I mean, I just don't understand. I always thought when you played Souls games, like you kind of just made your way through, and then the enemies, you kind of come up against a bunch of enemies, and then you fight them, and then they die, and then you go to, they don't reset. Like behind you is good. I always thought, behind me.
So they're not spawning behind you. What's happening is Remnant hides creatures in the environment and then doesn't trigger them until you alert somebody. So they do this. They do this in Yeisha specifically. Yeisha is like the most devious setting. Like you'll see tentacle monsters and they'll just be like in a tree or hanging out on a rock, like in a ball. And so you could kill them early if you notice them, but if you don't, then you spring their trap and then they're all around you. And so
come visit us in Narud. Nobody's hiding anywhere.
Narud is pretty different.
There's like, as far as Souls like, this is probably my favorite one I played. That being said,
it's a good game.
It's probably because it's the least Souls like.
Yeah, probably because I still, there's at one point I was coming down this one hallway and these enemies, they're just they're chaff, you just boom, boom, they're dead, a couple shots. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, now their legs are shut off, or I shot their legs off somehow, and now they're crawling at me, and now they explode. And then if they explode enough and you get caught in this stuff, you get some kind of like
root rot
or something.
Root rot.
And then I just cough. I coughed for like 30 minutes, and I don't know how to get rid of it. Like
you have to
use an item
right in the middle of the
root rot consumable to remove it. Or pro tip: when your character starts coughing, just hit the roll button and it'll interrupt the coughing animation, so you can keep moving. But once you get root rot, I mean, you have to rest at a checkpoint or heal yourself.
I mean, that's just real life.
That's real life, bro.
Root rot, you got to take care of it.
Yeah, root rot, you got to go, buddy. But yeah, so the reason that happened, Remnant does something kind of interesting, which is every couple of minutes, if you're making forward progress in the area, you'll hear a horn sound, and that horn is the game summoning an elite enemy somewhere in the map, and they close in on you. And so it sounds like the one you got was the cultist with the shaman stick. And what he does is he revives all the root guys and makes them explodey. Yeah. So you have to kill him immediately or he'll keep reviving people. And when they revive, they have the explodey powder in them. And it's
I like how insane we sound talking about Remnant.
I know. Guys, this game is crazy. This game's got layers.
It does get really hectic at times.
Yeah. It's cool.
No, it's
I do think you should probably play with a friend though, Dan.
I've had a lot of good fun with it. I'm glad Dan is trying it. I think he will have more fun soon. There's more build crafting in it that you haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah, it really does kind of
any kind of gear.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you'll start to get rings and amulets and stuff where you can really kind of combine, your powers. I do think I would take Travis's recommendation of switching your class and trying something different. Just re-roll. I mean, there's no reason you can't. That's all part of the experimentation.
Hold on. Did any of you guys die on that tutorial boss?
I don't remember what the tutorial boss was.
He's the root guy that you fight in the hallway at the end of when you're walking around with Clementine. It's like
no.
No, I didn't die in the tutorial.
All right, so guys.
Hey, my fiance did. My fiance died in that part.
I
think one of her teammates rezzed her.
Early in that fight.
I honestly don't even remember.
Honestly, Dan, it could be, and I don't mean this sarcastically. I really don't, but it could be just because you don't typically play games that have these types of mechanics.
No,
if you play a ton of them, right, there's certain sensibilities that automatically click in your head, like, all right, I better do X, Y, and Z that you probably just don't have.
No,
at the moment.
Gamer intuition.
It's the one thing that is Dark Souls is roll much more than you think.
And you have to time your rolls, right? You have to use his iframes to make sure you don't take damage. And
if you got your helmet on, you can't roll as much. It's craziness.
Unless you have that ring that makes your invincibility ring.
No, he's talking about the tutorial boss.
And I have 30% roll distance for some reason. My roll is basically like a teleport at this point.
Sorry, my rings all just reflect on the nature of black holes. Sorry.
Yeah, you're in Nerud. Honestly, Nerud is great. It actually, if Dan had gotten Narud first as a challenger, he'd be great because it's all about like close-up confrontation, adding shield to yourself by doing damage. And my fiance is a melee only character right now. She's literally just charging in a challenger with a big sword and just crushing everything. And every time she does damage, it gives her a shield. Right. So she's just like invincible. Like she just hits things, and the more damage she does, the more shield she has. That's a great world to start in for that.
Robots, they're fun.
Yeah.
But it is
tough though. Geisha's
Dan, what? So Ade asked about, do you have to play in co-op? And as we already kind of discussed, I think openly, you do not have to play in co-op.
And you don't have to play Remnant 1 either.
In fact,
you don't have to play Remnant 1 either.
The handler class is specifically made for people who are playing the game solo because it gives you a companion who helps you out and distracts the enemies. And so if you plan on playing alone, I recommend having a dog next to you. Fun fact, if you pet the dog, you guys both get a buff for 5 minutes. It's an invisible buff. It helps the dog heal faster.
I do like petting the dog, but I haven't seen a buff.
It does. It's an invisible buff. Yeah. But the buff is that the dog heals faster. So if the dog is injured, pet it, and it'll get itself back.
Oh, I just so I started as hunter, but I did my second archetype last night, and I chose handler. So now I'm basically the guy from John Wick 4 who's like the sniper with a dog. That's what I'm going for.
Nice. So. Yeah. So you have a hunter as your second archetype.
Hunter handler. No, hunter's my main, and then handler.
Hunter's your main. Okay. Yeah. So that one's great because you can send the dog. You can actually command your dog, like go get that guy, and then as the dog runs out there, you can just pick him off from afar. And then the hunter has that X-ray vision thing where they can see everybody, and so you just pick them off. That's a really good combo. That has a lot of synergy to it. And also the game has 3 summon classes, by the way. So if you're not into dogs, there's other options. I'm a witch right now. I summon tentacle boys that are killing Dan. They're on my team now. And so
it's always been Travis in your game, Dan.
Yeah, it's just me summoning tentacle boys right behind you and seeking them on you, sicking them. Yeah, it's great.
Dan, what the only negative, of course, if you're not aware, and I see quite a few people saying they're interested in this game, hearing us talk about it, there is no cross-play or cross-progression. So talk to your friends, or if you're playing solo, obviously pick whatever platform you prefer. But if you plan to play with friends, you need to see where they're playing, because you can't play together. So I know that I was going to buy it on PC, but then most of my friends are playing on Xbox, so I bought it on Xbox. And by the way, Xbox and PS5 run great. I've had no problems in terms of performance or anything like that. It's really well optimized.
Their balance is really good.
Yeah, they actually might run better than the PC version, to be honest. Because I put 60 hours in a PC and it's good, but like developing for PC is so hard. There's so many different builds. Even my 4090 and all that, like I would have hitches after I killed a boss, and I haven't had really any problems on console. Aside from like connectivity, Xbox Live, PSN stuff that probably isn't Remnant's fault, but it's been a really smooth experience on console, which is surprising.
Yeah. Dan, what'd you buy it on? PS5?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can't even co-op.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter because I don't do it anyway. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, you could have jumped in with us, and
I can see myself getting a second copy of this just to play with Dan.
I already have 2 copies. It's great.
There you go. Dan, summon help. Get a dog, get some friends. You'll be good to go.
That's what I'm gonna have to do. I mean, I'm not giving up on it yet. I'm just.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating.
Show those tentacle boys who's who.
Oh my God.
Show them. Honestly, you'll get it.
Like, what the hell is this tree thing?
The great thing, though, Dan, and something that might help you is you're going to gain progress regardless because you get scrap and you can go back to town and you can level up your guns and they do more damage.
No. I call this
classes
for F's sake game because that's all I yell. Like,
and once you get 10 trait points, you can equip a second archetype. The game does not tell you this really. You have to just go to your menu and see that second node. And also getting your second archetype, there's vendors all over town that sell them. Some of them, like one of them's Mudtooth, you have to listen to every single story in order to get the gunslinger if you don't choose it as your first. So good luck with that. I chose gunslinger first specifically so I wouldn't have to listen to his dialogue. But you can literally talk to one character that'll sell you the whistle for the dog. The medic will sell you the medic subclass. So don't sleep on your second archetype, y'all, and talk to the other vendors in town to find them. They don't tell you what they are. They're small, like nondescript items that cost a lot of money, like 1,500.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay Wallace
realize that your archetype, that first archetype you got, will have a little item that goes with it to define your archetype. So once you realize that's what they are, you can tell where they live.
Yeah, and it should be pretty obvious. Like, the medic's item you buy is the pin, like the doctor pin, and the dog, the handler.
Although the Challenger is like
Yeah.
the Challenger's a Monopoly piece. It's like an iron press. It's very bizarre. Yeah, that one is a little. I was like, no, I wouldn't have guessed that. That's kind of cool.
But I just activated my second archetype and got to 10 at like 1:30 in the morning last night. So I haven't played yet. I went back to town, did all that, and then I had to go to sleep.
Another cool feature about your class or your archetype is when you combine two archetypes, it generates your character class name, which it won't show you unless you go to the archetype page. But like, I am right now a gunslinger summoner, so my character's called the Loaded Tormentor. Loaded because I've got a lot of bullets, and then Tormentor because I'm a witch. It's great. Yeah, so look at your combo and then start calling yourself that in polite company.
It is definitely one of the games that when I'm not playing it, I'm thinking about playing it, which for me often says a lot, because I play a lot of games. I don't have, outside of gaming late at night, during the days I don't have a lot of spare time. So if I'm thinking about playing a game, that's usually a good sign.
It's great. Also, it has some of the best boss fights of all time. I know some of you guys haven't seen a few of them, but like this game's boss fights are, I mean, some of them are whatever, but like a lot of them are like, damn, like this is better than anything in Elden Ring even. So
all right, calm down. All right.
No, I'm serious. I think even one of the fight scenes, you're gonna be like, all right, that was goated. That was like a goated boss encounter.
That's good. I'm excited.
Well, and I enjoy being there more than Elden Ring.
There you go. It is a little bit more hopeful as a universe. It's a little more hopeful because it's got endless possibility. If you don't like
talk
reality,
about the music, right? Like the music is awesome.
It's really good.
It's great.
Really good. Yeah. No, it's really good.
Now here's where I admit that Remnant 2 is actually the third most played game in Hoeg House this week.
Nice.
Go for it. So, what we got?
Pikmin 4 we talked about really briefly. It's Diablo 2 Season 1 week. I know that's going to come up on the news. But as I talked about last week, I had to beat the campaign before I could really access Season 1. So if you can imagine me hustling through Acts 4, 5, and 6 over the course of like a 24-hour period, I was playing a ton of Diablo 4 this week in order to get to Season 1, which I showed up for maybe 3 hours late in terms of when they opened the doors. So we haven't talked about that campaign a little bit. I do have to say, what in the world happened there? I get to the end of that story and you're like, what were you telling? And I like the game, but it's a strange campaign. And
I liked it a lot better the second time. So, which is weird, right? Because Travis and I reviewed it, right? And I played the campaign, and I know I liked it a little more, I think, than you, Travis, at the start, like when we reviewed it. But I said it wasn't fantastic. And then I played it again, and I kind of took in more of the lore, and I understood more of the world that it was talking about. Maybe it's just me, but I definitely liked it better the second time. And especially as I reflect on like Diablo 3's campaign and 2's, like I think it's quite good in terms of a loot-based ARPG campaign.
I think they're trying to get to a place where they feel a lot like 2 in kind of that weird melancholy, but I don't know that they achieve what they were aimed at, because they mostly do it with a pretty substantial character zig right at the end. And it's like, well, okay, but what's happening there? And it's like, nope, credits. It's like, well, maybe they'll pick it up in the seasons. They don't in Season 1.
It's not seasons. So I interviewed the team, and like basically what they're trying to do is, this is a live service game. So every year the expansion, I think, is going to continue in like the main story of like what's going on at post Lilith and her whole crusade and all that stuff. So it is weird though. It leaves you with the odd feeling in odd taste in your mouth in terms of like, well, that wasn't really satisfying. It didn't really feel like an ending, which is really common in live service games that plan on continuing the campaign. And also Acts 4 and 5 are so sour you on the campaign that by the time you get to 6, you're like, all right, I'm ready for this to just be over, because Acts 4 and 5 are just filler. It is just nothing going on.
That bad, but
they're padding, bro. They have you like.
What's interesting is Act 3 is like one mission. That's a strange choice.
Yeah, they're definitely the acts are not even in terms of content, right? They're very scattered. But no, I do agree with that. The ending of it is definitely set up as a continuation to be, right. And I did a little bit digging into, like, basically, I don't want to spoil anything. This could be really minor spoilers, so just caveat that before I say anything. But as the character is leaving at the end in the final cinematic, right, they're going to this other region of Sanctuary, which is well known in Diablo verse, right? So to Travis's point, I think the plan is to expand that game world to fill in Sanctuary, right, and continue the story over time.
I don't have a problem with that, really. I just think there's an execution level that's missing there, right? Because Diablo 2 has an ending, and then you still have Lord of Destruction. Like, you can still do that. This one is more like the ending of a particularly unsatisfying Netflix season, and then you hope it gets picked up later. It's like, okay, that's fine, but when you cut to credits, I should feel like I did something. But I love the game. I love Diablo 4.
3 was the same way.
I was really hoping that Act 5 would be us dealing with Lilith, and then Act 6 would be the character reveal that you talked about, Hogan. We would kind of discover the true enemy and get some sort of payoff in that campaign, and was completely left, disappointed when that turned out that nope, it was exactly what you thought. Act 6 ends exactly like in the most generic possible way. And then it gives you like a carrot of like, hey, you could see more in future, which, to be fair, I'm super excited for that stuff they're alluding to. I will definitely be playing at the expansion next year to see what happens, and hopefully see what's going on with the.
I'm in. I love Diablo 4. This criticism is solely of, I don't think that was terribly elegant at the end. And I agree with you. Like, one of the things they're doing is they play voiceover of various lines in the game while you're running to do this thing at the end of the game, very much like a Usual Suspects kind of, you should be having a reveal and a revelation, and they just don't ever square that circle. They don't explain what the hell they're talking about. So they just cut to credits and say, wasn't that a crazy thing? Like, no, not really.
Yeah, I mean, I gave the game a 9 out of 10. I think a lot of people were expecting it to be a 10 out of 10 based on all the stuff we'd seen about it, and the story had a lot to do with that. The campaign in particular, I think if you're buying the game just to play the campaign, you walk away and you're like, the end game is fantastic, but the campaign, like, it's just like, I never wanted to replay it after I did play through it 2 full times, because I think 3 full times, because they kept deleting our progress during that period. But as soon as I beat the campaign on my full account, I was like, skip campaign on all characters, like skip past that, just get me to the end game, because it really isn't.
Because you want to go work with the best new character, which is the Tree of Whispers. Let's talk about season 1. I don't want to talk about the patch yet. I know we want to talk about that in notes, but I did finally get into season 1. So you roll a new character. It is so nice, especially after running through the campaign in way too short a time, to change up the character class. I'm having a lot more fun with Barbarian now that I understand more of what I'm looking at than I did when I just jumped into the game to begin with. And so I'm running a Barbarian in season 1. I really like this season. I really like.
It's good.
I like the Malignant stuff. The hearts at first blush don't seem to be as crazy as I think they should be. But
I think, what level are you?
So I'm 25. I'm just about at the end of part 2 of the season.
Because I asked the same question. I'm still very early in it, but on our Discord we were having a conversation with some people who were already like level 60 after like 2 days in season 1, and I said, how are the hearts? And they said like they definitely build up crazier, I think, later. So I think it'll get there for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a first blush type thing, right? Because you're interacting with these new slots, and you put the hearts in, and it's like, well, okay, I will focus on some of the things that it's doing, but since they are so specific to your class, and then specific to skills, you have to kind of either reverse build your character on this new heart that you got, or figure out what you want to do in advance and hope that the hearts drop in the way that you need. But I really, really like the game. I really, really enjoy many aspects of the subquests and the world building and things involved in actually just playing and build crafting Diablo 4. It was just the campaign that kind of put me off a little bit. And season 1 is actually much more direct right from the start than the main campaign, right? They've got an intro video that you get when you start the season that is very specific about what we're talking about. Then it kind of takes a pause and says, go work on season stuff for a while, which is essentially go play Diablo 4. You've got a new season character, but just go play it. It's stuff you'll recognize as season checkpoints from like Diablo 3. Go find waypoints, go kill things, go solve tunnels, etc. But learning the new stuff that they've put in and following along with the storyline, I've really enjoyed. I think Diablo 4 is a tremendous product. It may wind up my favorite game of the year. I think it's still Final Fantasy 16, but having played through the whole campaign, even with my not upsetedness, but kind
reservations,
of lack of punch from the campaign, I just really like them doing a season live service model that is more incorporated in their game than Diablo 3 was, which was kind of retroactively drafted on.
Yep, agreed. Shout out to Katie in the chat, Katie Cotton. She's been in our Discord too, and she's grinding through on Diablo 4. She's already on tier 3 with her Necro up to level 50, she said, in season 1. But she was saying that the Malignant hearts for Necro, and I've seen other people say this, are really, really powerful too. There's a few you can get that are crazy. So I agree with you. I would have played it more if not for Remnant 2 and other games. But I think it's a good model that they've built into. Obviously, there were some people, you saw probably the outrage this week, people upset about ARPG patch, which has happened since the dawn of time. But in the age we live in now, just YouTube videos and rants on Twitter and everything about this. So the Diablo team came out on Friday, did a chat, basically a live,
yes,
social
it was
event.
Self-flagellation. But I mean, the interesting thing is, like, I was playing it actively at the time, both before and after this patch. And my character, which was a necromancer, I didn't really feel much of a change for. So it's very difficult for me to comment on. But I mean, if that was it, certainly the self-flagellation on, was it Friday? Was a little bit much for me. And one of the things I wound up commenting on was like, I don't really like, we're going to change these significant things. And then, people yelled about it. We're going to rescind them or change them back. That makes me feel a lot less secure in the decision-making and the team behind it. And then people say, well, those headlines were overwrought or whatever. It's just very difficult for somebody that's not going to follow this to every detail to figure out what the heck is going on with this.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's where I choose to be nowadays. There was a time where I followed every little detail for games I played and updates, and I still do for like Halo and stuff. But I honestly find it way more enjoyable to just take things as they're delivered and play through them and stay away from the noise, because the noise is just, it's exhausting, to be honest with you. I just can't handle it anymore. So it was a little weird on Friday, but I think generally speaking, they've done a really good job. And I think just even their communication level in terms of responsiveness has been impressive. So,
yeah. I think, so I've played a bit of season 1. I'm enjoying that so far. I also have kind of ignored a lot of the noise. I saw some people in the IGN Slack channel being like, bro, what the heck's happening with this game? And I totally sympathize with that if people were playing super hardcore rushing to get to level 100, because basically what the patch did is it just slowed everything down, and it did so in a way that felt kind of mean. It felt like it was like, hey, if you were grinding to 100, which takes like dozens of hours to do, we made it harder for you to do so and more annoying. And we undermined a lot of builds that you might have put a bunch of time into with no relief for players, by the way. To like, that was one of the things I asked them about when I interviewed them before the game came out, is like, this is a live service game. You guys are going to patch stuff out. You're going to debuff things. You're going to do nerfs. When that happens, what's the solve for people who've put a whole bunch of time into their build, gotten specific items, and now you're asking them to pay like 800,000 gold to reset their character and redo it all again? And they were like, oh, we'll probably, offer options for people to do that without getting paid if it's our fault. And that did not happen at all. And so I think that their patch was pretty tone deaf, and I think not really in line with what they were messaging to players beforehand. And but this is not my first rodeo. I've been around live service games enough to know this will work itself out. I just won't log on for a couple of days, and when I do, it'll probably be done. And they already responded to it, and I know they reversed the worst of what they did. Obviously, there's going to be some nerfs. I think people have the expectation that that's never going to happen. Those people are crazy. But my philosophy was I waited a little bit, and then when I waited for the dust to settle and I heard that Necromancer was good, I was like, great. I never would have played Necromancer in the previous version of the game. So now I'm going to roll a Necromancer and play that for season 1, and that's what I'm doing. So I've been working my way through season 1 with my Necromancer, and my Sorcerer is sitting on a shelf collecting dust for now because the Sorcerer got hit real hard in the nerfs, and I'll just wait for the Sorcerer to be good again. They'll fix it. So this is how live services go sometimes. My policy.
Well, and it's how ARPGs go. I mean, this is not new in any sense of the word.
Super fun.
Yeah, and my feeling is state your feedback, but don't freak out. Chill, guys. They'll come around. The stuff is cyclical. They'll get around to it. So,
but let me ask you this from a game design perspective: what is the need for nerfing and buffing here? Is it just Fields of Hatred stuff?
No, it's that. Sorry, Travis. I was just going to say, basically, the way they described it on Friday, because I watched a lot of that stream, was that basically they're trying to make the classes longer term more viable across the board, right? And as always happens with these ARPGs, there's a few class builds that are just becoming the meta. I mean, if you play any of the world tier, world boss, or you play any of the Legion events or multiplayer, you know what the metas were. I mean, they were very clear because they would go in and destroy everything in 3 seconds flat. Yeah, so basically, it's the developer responding to try and make things more even across the board.
Yeah, the day before they rolled out the nerfs, I think I saw a video online of somebody doing 1.8 billion damage with.
There's one. There was a yes. There was a barb that did like. Yeah, there was some glitch where you could get it to do like 26 quintillion or something.
Yeah, like it was ridiculous, and I feel like they were
with the bugs, right? I don't know if people are complaining about like. The Barbarian had like some kind of bug with his smashing one, right? Like I don't know that people are complaining about getting rid of that stuff, but the actual build crafting, I mean, like that's what you're interacting with. That's the game of Diablo.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that they're trying to make it so that there's not one right answer to how to make your character. And I think that in certain character classes, they were getting dangerously close to there being like a correct answer for like your character should be like this if you want to be competitive at all. And I do agree that makes the game boring. And it's especially true in the age of streamers where like streamers will tell you what to build. And if you don't listen to them, people will just like pile on you. And I mean, I read an article back when Diablo 4 had just come out from my buddy Paul Tassi, who said, I tried being a build crafter. I tried coming up with my own build. Then I watched somebody on YouTube tell me how to build it, and now my build feels 10 times better, and I'm never going to try again. That was basically the takeaway from the article. He was just like, I'm not smart enough for this. Just listen to YouTubers. And I feel like that. Article. Yeah, but here's the thing. That's like a lot. That's kind of the culture right now. A lot of and. For everything that Paul Tassi is, I think Paul Tassi is like a good representative of the every gamer. And I feel like that's what a lot of every gamers took away from Diablo is don't try to build it yourself. You're just going to fail. And there's not really, whenever a game feels like there's not multiple paths to success, it needs rebalancing. And I think they were trying to get to that. Now, what they actually
which is literally what they said.
But philosophically, like the problem I have with this is, I think you're probably right, Travis, but if you only speak to the audience that is going to go look for guides anyway, you're not focused on making your game better. You're focused on trying to whack-a-mole with math, essentially, and what somebody on some YouTube channel is going to tell you to do. And I just don't know that you should be aiming all your efforts at the minority. I have to believe it's a minority of folks that are just going to do guides when the game itself is going into that skill tree and figuring out where you want to put the skill points. It's not holding down the A button. That's not where the fun of Diablo lives.
I'll tell you, at least in the end game, the community is much more focused on what is the most optimized thing because the game is so grindy and people are trying to find ways to get through it as quickly as possible. And so I think you're right when you're in the campaign, Hoeg, like nobody really is caring about guides when they're just like in it and having fun. But then at a certain point, you have to like look in the mirror and put on your big boy pants and be like, look, I have to make this as powerful as possible unless I want to be doing this forever. And
I've had this problem with like the World of Warcraft, the Final Fantasy 14s of the world.
Yeah, it's not a new problem.
Which is that if you aim all of your efforts and concerns and nerfs and debuffs and whatnot on the people that have played it 10,000 hours and are now bored, then you're really missing out on the group of people that are playing your game to play your game.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that what they are trying to do by rebalancing is they're trying to make it so that your build and the YouTuber experts build can both be viable. And I think they were getting dangerously close to a place where your build felt completely unviable in endgame unless you listen to a specific set of rules. And I get why you would want to nerf that out. The problem is, I think that they overcorrected and they did some stuff that just felt mean. The XP reduction and the progress reduction was like crazy to me. And just some of the stuff they did, it was like, yo, this just feels like your goal is to make everything take longer and be harder and not fun. And I think they should do the opposite. I think they should have raised up some of the builds that felt weaker and, you know, made all paths viable. And this is, again, like, it's so funny to see this happen after I've seen it happen with Destiny like 90 times. They have the exact same conversation where they nerfed something that felt great and then now everything felt mid. Like, that's a conversation that happens in every live service game. Is your goal to make every class
happen in
powerful?
every Diablo game? It's just that the arguments were had on the forums instead of social media.
Yeah.
It happens
so
every time.
But I think that both Blizzard's goal of what they're trying to do is a noble one that they should pursue. And I think that players are 100% right in their criticism as well, that this was a bad set of patches that made the game feel worse. And it did feel kind of mean against players, some of the stuff they put in there. So ignore it or go away in a week.
If you reverse course in 48 hours, I don't know what kind of faith we're supposed to have in your decision.
But they didn't really reverse course. That's a misconception.
And people said that the headlines said too much, that they had reversed course, and that's fine. I'm not looking at every little bit of math here. It's just a matter of, certainly the impression was, oh, we're very, very sorry, and we're going to reverse course on Friday.
That's the impression, but that's if you didn't actually listen to what they said.
Well, the quote that they gave, the thing that they did say was, "We'll never put out a patch like that again," and that seems
they did say that.
It seems pretty definitive to me.
Too late.
No, but I mean, if you listen to what they're actually doing, right? The stuff was already in dev. It's not like they suddenly said, "Oh shit, we got to put 30 devs on this and switch what we're doing." They're not done that. They're already They've already been working on the changes that are coming.
And I don't think that they could do that because game development has turnaround. But to Hoeg's point,
exactly.
That was the messaging. The messaging was
Of course, it's the messaging. What else are they going to say? Fuck you guys.
Yes.
Well, at some level,
and guess what? Some developers do that. Some developers go, "Hey, look, I get that you're mad, but we think you're a bunch of YouTubers that are mad that your video guide is no longer relevant." So
sure, you think Blizzard's going to do that? No, they're not.
Some developers do that though.
Yeah, if you're minor, smaller developers.
Wait, no, don't you guys have phones? Aren't going to do that? I mean, I don't want them to be assholes, but I do think that there is a certain strength in, you know what, we understand short term this is a pain point. We think this is for the long term health of the game, and we stand by the decisions that we probably spent some time thinking about before we implemented them. And I think that this is a bigger concern for me. Is that, well, do you have any idea what you're doing, or are you just spinning plates and then seeing what happens?
I do agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you.
And this is something that's happened in Destiny a number of times, which is Bungie will come out and they'll say, "We're making this major change because we believe in it," and then they'll put it out, and the players will be like, "We hate it," and then Bungie will, like, 3 weeks later be like, "You know what? We thought about it and we no longer believe in this thing." And I'm just like, you guys are the game developers. It's like just honestly believe in something. Like, if you think that this is the right path and you've explained your reasoning, stand by it, because the flip-flopping makes my confidence in your ability to actually, like, stick to your guns and have principles on what you think is good game design. It makes my confidence go way down. And I feel like some of the messaging coming from Blizzard made me feel like that too. Because it's like, dude, if you believe it and you explain it to your players and they disagree, and then you go, "Just hold on, we'll prove it in time," then great. Then you believe in it, and we're going to see if you're right. We're going to see if players agree.
I agree with you guys. We are not the majority.
I agree.
We are not the vocal ones on social media screaming their heads off like children about it.
I don't think that's the majority.
I don't think it is either, but they're the ones that are responding to, which is why I agree with you. I don't think they should be. That's my point. I'm agreeing with you. But I don't think Blizzard, in where they sit with Diablo 4 today, we're ever going to come out and just say, "Screw you guys. We're sticking to our vision." I just don't think they were going to do that.
Then I say to them, what is the point in having FU money if you're never going to say FU?
I think that's very fair. Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting situation, but I think that I guess my point was, I didn't pay attention to any of this because this is just ARPGs. I don't care what ARPG you've played. Path of Exile, every Diablo, every Torchlight, this happens with all of them. Classes go up and down, builds go up and down. things get tuned over time. It changes constantly. That's part of the game. And the other thing I will say too that I'm seeing, and maybe this is just because Diablo 4 has kind of hit the mainstream, if you will. And Travis, I want to call back to one of the points you've made many times, which is I see people saying like, I've put 100 hours in this game or 200 hours in this game. It's crazy that it feels so grindy. And it's like, first of all, 200 hours in an ARPG is child's play. You're scratching the surface, right?
Those are rookie numbers, boy. You need to get
those are rookie numbers. First of all, you haven't put a lot of time into the game. And it's just the nature of the game themselves. Two, I think you're right, Travis, in the sense of why the people who will play it 12 hours a day, but then complain that it's grindy, baffle me to no end. We're talking about the greatest time for video games we've ever had. You expect this game to give you thousands and thousands of hours. It's been out for a month, I will remind you, of gameplay. Go play something else. Give them time to evolve the game, make the tuning changes you're screaming about. Those tuning changes you want and the balance changes and all this other stuff you want are not going to be done in a month's time. There's other things to play. Like you can stop, come back to this game in a few months' time. I think the concept of it's grindy while simultaneously putting in hundreds of hours and saying you're bored is just baffling to me. I don't understand that.
Weird, and that is not unique to Diablo, certainly.
Nope,
not at all. Not at all.
Nope.
But I think it's
live
really
service. That might as well be the motto for live service. Honestly,
well,
I think people need to step back and be like, "What am I doing? Why am I doing this to myself?"
I think Travis, when you get pushback from us on live service is great and everything, I think some of it is that, right? The philosophies, the nature of the audience that you cultivate, the fact that you say the campaign doesn't have an ending because it's a live service game and they want to keep it open-ended. Like all this stuff kind of goes together, which is, we're not getting certain of the qualities that we like in our video games or have historically liked in our video games, a complete campaign, playing a game that you enjoy, that you can build a damage cracking build out of, right? Like part of the fun of build crafting is seeing if you can break the thing. And if you succeed, the threat now is that, okay, if you figure that out, we're going to kill you. It's like, okay, that's fine because you've got multiplayer events, you've got world bosses, and you've got Fields of Torment. But what if you didn't? Right? Like, I don't give a shit about that. I want to figure out the mechanisms here and figure out what a multiplication does instead of an additive and try to solve the algebraic equations you've placed into this game. And if I do, I want to revel in my success.
Yeah. I mean, my rebuttal to that would be that a lot of your complaints existed before live services. And like, as Ains has pointed out, like Diablo has had these patch and rebalancing problems long before it was a live service kind of game, including Diablo 2. So I'd say that existed well. And then the open plot thing, I think, is basically what games used to do back when they were setting up for a sequel. Like that's why Halo 2's ending is so bad, because Halo 3 was on the horizon already. And I'd just say, like,
I don't know that using the worst examples of people sequel baiting is exactly fair play in this.
Yeah, I mean, but even games that, even games that were lauded at the time, Mass Effect 2 sets up for a sequel. There's a lot of you can tell a complete story in your seasonal rotation or your yearly release without just not giving it a satisfying ending. And I think that's just a matter of good or bad storytelling that could happen in either model. Like, do I wish that live service games were better at telling self-contained stories? Yeah, I do. I do. But also, like, the culture right now is, you make a season 1 of a Netflix show, and how are you setting up for season 2 is the question at the top of everybody's mind. And I hate that. I hate that entire philosophy.
Yeah, I'm against
series. It's live service TV.
Yeah, it's live service TV, and I think that is a bigger problem with people not being able to efficiently tell stories these days, regardless of what your model is. And so, I don't know that you would have gotten a different ending to Diablo 4 if they were making a canned game, because then they would have been setting up for an expansion, DLC, whatever the thing was. I don't really know, but my point is stories are either good or bad, and the model doesn't really affect that. But yes, I agree, the Diablo 4 story was super unsatisfying in terms of its ending. So.
Okay, it wasn't that bad.
It's pretty bad.
Cheryl says, I don't even know what's happening. Both Ains and Hogue agreed with Travis, and now Hogue said, shit, what dimension have we fallen into?
Yeah.
Did I say that? Okay.
Oh, and I said F. So I mean,
yeah. And I've been clean somehow. I'm the one.
Yeah.
Being
well behaved.
Crazy.
I mean, I've told people this, but I am medically diagnosed with reduced inhibition, so I'm doing my best.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Yeah.
Spicy Hogue.
I like that. I like reduced inhibition.
Let's get caught up on super chats. We've had a few come in. We had some coming in while we were talking about Remnant, and then we got off on the Diablo tangent. So let's get caught up on these.
Diablo. Iron Keg. Thanks, man. $5. 2 hunters and a medic walk into a world.
He's talking about Remnant.
Yeah.
And they're all the same person. I've heard this one before. Yeah.
Iron Keg is Elu's brother. So Elu did the review for us. Iron Keg's his brother. Me, Elu, and Iron have been playing in co-op. And yes, we are both hunters. He's a medic. He says the MED stands for mediocre medic. It's accurate, but we're making it work. So, well, thank you, man. Appreciate you. La days.
The days with the $2 super chat. Maybe play Oxenfree 2. First was better in my opinion.
Probably
for an hour. And I wanted to crush my phone with a claw hammer, so that's where I'm at with that game.
If you don't know, or you're new here or haven't listened to us in about 48 different episodes, Dan does not like Oxenfree. Specifically,
he's wrong. But yeah,
he doesn't like it at all. In fact, if you joined us, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, where we made our bets on the Video Game Awards? 2 weeks ago, I think. But when we made our bet on the Video Game Awards, we've already agreed that if Dan loses, then we are buying him Oxenfree 2, and he has to play Oxenfree 2 for that.
To completion.
Yeah.
To completion.
Make it even worse. You gotta play it on my phone.
I might make you play it multiple times and go through all the dialogue paths. You never know.
Oh man, sounds
That'd
juicy.
Be great. We should. He has the completionist run of Oxenfree. Hell yeah.
So has anyone actually played it that likes it? The Hogue, have you?
Yeah, I have Oxenfree 2 on my PlayStation.
Okay. I don't know if there's
sounds
any
like that sounds like a really lawyer way to admit that you bought the game but haven't played it yet.
I can confirm I own Oxenfree 2.
I've confirmed that I own it on the PlayStation console. No further comments at this time, Your
Honor. You guys are too good because there's just too many other games. So it sits right next to my Oxenfree.
I also own the game.
My name is Ainsley Bowden. I do not own Oxenfree 2. I will take no further questions at this time.
I think I have turned it on. But no, I was playing through, since Oxenfree came out years before, I was playing through Oxenfree 1 to remember what happened in it before Oxenfree 2. And then I just kind of trailed off on that when I really had to pick up the pace on Diablo 4, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you made the right choice.
Got it. Yep. So we'll talk more about it here in the coming weeks. But Dave, thank you for the super chat.
I want to play it. It's on my Xbox. I want to play it eventually.
Go for
it. There you go. Wolf.
And so was that
Check Krona.
Hope you guys are doing great.
I believe
Remnant 2 is a perfect sequel so far. And then the devil.
Wolf is a good buddy from Twitter who I know who is a big Souls guy. Loves Bloodborne, loves all those games. So he's really digging Remnant 2 like most of us that aren't getting attacked by tentacle boys. Thank you, Wolf. Good to see you, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah. It's just a regular Sunday for Dan.
Just another Sunday.
Yep.
Coming after you.
Don in the house.
Don Liner with a $10 super chat. Good morning, Bitcast. Far behind in the archives as always, but I got to drop in to show my support.
Thanks, Don.
Keep on keeping on. Also, appreciate Oppenheimer was incredible. Anyone see it?
This week.
I saw it in
this
special
week as well.
IMAX.
Yes, I have tickets for 70mm IMAX for Wednesday, so I'm pumped.
Yes.
I'm not as rich as Ains, so I have tickets in a normal screen size
nice.
for this week as well.
Yeah, I've got Barbenheimer double feature next Saturday. So
awesome! You're actually seeing Barbie, huh?
Oh hell yeah, dude! I actually hear it's good. My buddy was like,
"It's good." Yeah, I didn't mean that in a negative way.
It's more substantial than you think. But yeah, we're doing Oppenheimer first. We're all gonna wear pinstripe suits and have cigars and reflect on the meaninglessness of life. And then we're gonna take a brief intermission for lunch, and we're gonna come back in I've got a pink tuxedo, and we're we're gonna do it up for Barbie.
So you're really diving into the hipster Travis that we know so well. Gotcha.
He does nothing small.
How's it hipster? What is more mainstream than doing the Barbenheimer? You know, like that's everybody's doing
most people
that.
don't put on suits and cigars color match to the movie.
Who those people I don't want to hang out with. So
yeah, I don't know if you've seen the theaters for
enough.
this weekend, but there's a lot of people dressing up for Barbie. Maybe fewer for Oppenheimer.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer. Yeah, we should all wear fedoras. I don't know.
I mean, Travis is basically dressed for Oppenheimer every show, so we're good to go there.
That's because I'm currently building a. I can't say that on. I don't know if I want to say that on.
And that's how
I'm gonna get McCarthy'd.
That's how Season Gaming got removed from YouTube.
Yeah.
Thank you, Don. Good to hear from you as always. Shoosh.
And with the €5, Diablo 4 is no longer making me sandwiches and started to wear bra. I'm filing for divorce. Glad I could read that one. Shoot. I have no idea what that means. What's
interesting. I think he's trying to say that Diablo 4 is his committed lover, maybe, and
I believe the patch reduced its efficacy in his home. Yes,
I mean,
based on old adages, on outdated adages.
It's a strange metaphor, but his name is Shush. So that's fair.
Shush, thank you. Good to see you, man. Gecko in the house as well.
Gecko with the €6. I think the only game I know who has rebalanced their game successfully was Borderlands 3, which tended to buff more weapons than they nerfed.
I think buffs tend to feel better.
I wish that game was better.
Yeah. Tiny Tina's is better than Borderlands 3. I'll say that.
Damn, wrecked.
Gecko, good to see you, man. Thank you. And yeah, I mean, that's Borderlands has gone through this too, right? Especially with Borderlands 2, they were all over the place, especially from launch. So it's just, like I said, it's every game that has this type of design. Pampa Nows.
Mario Pampa with the $10 super chat. Enjoying all of the talk of
I was going to bring this up, Travis.
Fun playing games. I'm hooked, pun intended, on Dave the Diver myself. Can you guys see your list of Game of the Year change?
Isn't Dave the Diver on Travis's or no?
Dave the Diver's got to be on my. It wasn't on my predictions, but it'll
not
probably
the Video
be
Game Awards one, right? But
yeah, it wasn't on. Yeah. I don't think it. Wait, was it?
I don't think so. Oh, I don't know. I'll pull it up. I've got it.
Didn't I put one indie game, and I think Dave the Diver was my indie game.
Yeah, because I went with Sea of Stars.
I think I did put it on there. Honestly,
Travis, you do have Dave the Diver on there.
Nice.
Nice memory. Yeah. It's all in there.
It's all in there. And you know what? That guy was a smart dude. I think he's right. I think he's right. I think you guys need to play that game, by the way.
Oh my God. I am winning this bet. Hands down, I'm winning.
Savages. You need to play it. Yeah, of course.
I can't you're winning games. I feel like
it's a prediction, right? So yes, you agree with yourself.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, that guy Haynes has it nailed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Travis, I was going to bring this up as we were talking about games here, is that Pampa was looking for something to play, especially that he could play on Steam Deck. And he's mentioned Dave the Diver or playing Halo the other night. I was like, Travis raves about it. So
dude,
I heard Dave the Diver works well on deck.
It works.
Yeah, he said it's great.
Well on deck, and it's a great game. Seriously, don't sleep on that. I know I'm not known for hyping up games and wishing that you would play them, given my track record. But if there's a few games I'd like to recommend that you play this year, you know, Dave the Diver, Remnant 2, a lot of underrated gems are in my portfolio this year. So I'm very happy.
Cool, Pomp. Thank you. To answer your question. Yeah, I can absolutely see my Game of the Year list change. There's still a bunch of great games to come out. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll see.
We all bet on Starfield. That could turn out badly. I don't want that to.
Yeah, I think it showed up in all of our lists. There's a question.
3 games we all have, which is Zelda, Starfield, and I just closed it. No, I didn't. It's right here.
One thing we could do is, I don't think we did this, is we could pick the game on our 6 nominees that we think will win it, and then that maybe is an extra point, right?
Yeah, we
okay. Yeah, let's do that. Well, we're not gonna do it right now, but let's do that next week.
He needs to consult the
No, I'm looking at the list because I thought there were 3 games that we all had, but it looks like there's only 2, which is Tears of the Kingdom and Starfield.
Do we not all have Diablo?
No, I didn't put Diablo.
Travis did not put Diablo.
Oh, well, Travis is wrong, but that's okay.
I think I'm going to be right. I was playing the judges. I think
I don't think there's any way Diablo 4 is not nominated for Game of the Year.
I hope you're right, but I'm playing Moneyball here, Hogue. I'm playing Moneyball. I'm trying to bet. You know, when you play poker, you don't play your cards, you play the other player. You know what I mean? I'm looking at the judges and going, what do I think is in your brain? What
this is a movie quote.
Of course, you don't gamble.
I traffic in certainties.
But you always tell us nothing's certain when it comes to lawyering.
Yep, that's the nature of the job.
Yeah.
I only traffic in certainties, which I cannot offer you.
Yeah. And I peddle in mere conjecture. That's
you affix
duality of
numbers
man
to written critiques of artistic media. It's the strangest things.
It's very strange. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the super chats, everyone. I appreciate you. Guys, I want to talk about, like I said, I got a couple more games to talk about here. I want to talk about the Crew Motorfest, which is Ubisoft. Which is Ubisoft's, if you remember, they showed it, weeks ago, essentially Forza Horizon, right? They're turning the Crew franchise they have into Forza Horizon. I'm in the closed test for it right now. There's no embargo or restriction on gameplay, so you might have seen some people talking about it. Played it for a few hours, and I'm going to write an article on it, but this couldn't be more Horizon, I don't think, if it tried. I mean,
electronic dance music.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm talking about not even just like the theme and the presentation of the game. I'm talking about like every detail is almost Forza Horizon. So it opens by allowing you to test different cars and talking to you about car culture and the different, things you can do in the game. It takes place on Oahu, I believe, the island in Hawaii. It introduces well, let me get to it. So there's a DJ, of course, and there's a host of the festival that you go to with big stages and celebrations and music playing. And then it does a cinematic intro of the cars, right? And you move into them and you do these quick races. And then you are put onto the island, and there's different themes you can go to. So you can go do the Porsche series, right? Or different series, I guess you can go, not themes. And you can explore, and there's hidden things on the island. To your point about barn finds, I don't know if there's barn finds, but there are treasures. So like you drive around and you can find a treasure box, which will give you parts to upgrade your car. So things like that. It looks very similar to Horizon. It even does the whole scoring thing. Like as you're driving, if you drift or you near miss a car or pass a car, it gives you the active points in real time. It has like 8 different radio stations you can switch through. It has an AI person that speaks to you while you're driving around if you want them to. It absolutely fundamentally takes the entire concept of Forza Horizon to a T. Now, I will say there are a few wrinkles that are interesting so far. One, there are bikes and planes and boats in this. So it is, it's kind of more fully featured from a vehicle perspective. So if you enjoy kind of flying around the island or doing whatever the hell you want to do, it's got more options there. It also has, they're definitely playing into the customization aspect. So you can put things like lights on your tires, or you can put exhaust flames that are different colors. You know what I mean? There's a lot of car modifying and customization that's not necessarily realistic, but it plays into the unique aesthetic, right, of your car. So I think they'll probably monetize in some form around that, right? Because there's 2 currencies already showing in the game.
Well, that's what they did with 2, right? I mean, like, one of the interesting things about this series is, like, I really enjoyed Crew 1.
Okay.
And thought it could have been evolved in a different way than what Crew 2 became, right? Crew 1 had this kind of miniature United States, and you went and saw various things. And it was a lot of fun to go around this big area and do the cross-country races or various tasks in these areas, and also had environmental puzzles with things like, I don't know whether they were called treasure boxes at the time, but they had parts that you would go and find in various places. And I remember, going through the Louisiana swamps to try to get a new clutch and doing a race through Detroit, which was fun. And then Crew 2 took all that personality out and gave it a live service element and gave you a button to change into a plane or a boat. And
Yep.
I really hated that. I just felt it had no character whatsoever. So outside of aping Forza Horizon, do you feel
Yep.
like this has character? Because it just felt so empty and lifeless in Crew 2 for me.
Yeah, I think it does. It's clearly going for a more lighthearted, arcadey thing than Forza Horizon. Now, we know Forza Horizon as the arcadey version of Forza, right? Because it's not Motorsport, which is coming out. So I would say, you know, especially as someone who kind of dives deeper into these car games, the physics definitely are not as well polished as Forza Horizon. They're just not, right? It's much more arcadey feeling. It tries to simulate difference between rear wheel drive, front wheel drive, mid engine, etc. It does so kind of middling, I would say. You don't really feel like you have proper control of the car the same way. Not that it handles badly, right? It handles like an arcade racer.
I put it in my head
arcade racer with some wrinkles,
yeah.
I would say. It looks really good and runs really good. I'm playing it on Series X. Frame rate super smooth. It's very pretty. It's not quite up to the level of Forza Horizon, but then Forza Horizon 5 is a stunning game. You know, it's absolutely spectacular in terms of lighting and everything that goes into that. It's close though. I mean, it's very pretty, runs very smoothly. So I don't remember a game more recently that I've played where I'm playing the game and I think, holy crap, this is 98% of a different game. You know what I mean? I mean, it's very clear what they were going for here. I do think that I don't think it's a bad thing because Forza Horizon is really fun. It has a big audience. It continues to be one of the top played games on Xbox Live still every week. So I think there's a big audience there. But I don't know if it's going to separate itself out enough to really say, why would I play this when I can play Forza Horizon? I guess that's what I need to see. So I'm going to spend a little more time with it in the next day or two. I'll do a write-up on it this week, hopefully, and show you some screenshots and stuff. It looks to have pretty good car variety. You know, there's like 564 cars, I think, at the moment, and some really kind of classic stuff that I like, you know, the big, obviously the exotics and kind of cars from the 80s, 90s and stuff. It's got some throwbacks. You know, you drive Shelby Cobra at one point. And like I said, the motorcycles are a cool addition. So we'll see. But I think it's very clearly a knockoff, and that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just, you know, I don't know if it has enough of its own personality.
Okay. So. Yeah, I feel like they've been chasing with that series.
Big time.
People
and I think
that against me as well as a person.
Say it again.
Chasing?
I don't think he has enough of his own personality.
Oh. I just think like it's very clear they had 1 and 2, and to your point, they were like, okay, what do we do next? And it's like, well, Forza Horizon's popular, you know, let's go that way. So
yeah, I would like to see the universe where 1 becomes 2 that's based on 1, and we go down that direction, because I think they had something interesting, and I just think they lost it. 2 was so lifeless. I mean, that's the one where you're finding like likes and subscribers and pretending to be a driving YouTuber. I just really hate it.
I think this is a series that weirdly, like a lot of car franchises, have an identity crisis. Because you see this happening a lot where games aren't really sure which direction they want to go, and they kind of try one thing and then they try something completely else. Need for Speed has been doing this a ton in their games, where it's just like, what are you guys? Because I feel like you knew what you were, and then at some point you've tried so many things you don't really know where to go. And I actually reviewed both of the Crew games, Crew 1 and Crew 2. So back in the day. And you know, I thought Crew 1 had some good ideas, but didn't meet a lot of those. Crew 2,
I'm not going to argue that point.
Yeah, Crew 2, instead of doubling down on that idea and trying to make it better, they just tried something completely different, which I also thought there were some good ideas, but they actually weirdly kind of nailed the ideas in that game more in the motorcycle game that we reviewed, Ains, a while back, Riders Republic. Kind of did the same.
Not motorcycle.
Not motorcycle.
Extreme sports, like.
Well, it was bikes and stuff.
Bikes and And
all I remember is I was on wheels doing something. They
really stick in your brain, don't they?
It's been so long, man.
It was a good game. Like I really enjoyed it.
Passing in the night when you're a reviewer, Hoeg. You know, you're on to the next thing, and who can even remember what dalliance you had the week before? You know, I can't.
No, so literally. Alex from SG was asking me last night about Hogwarts, because I reviewed Hogwarts with you as well. And he's like, when do we get the code for that and stuff? He's asking me questions about my review. I said, I don't remember. I have no idea. And that was February.
Yeah, it was February. Yeah. We got the code. I got the code 4 days before the embargo lifted. Because I remember I went goblin mode for that. I played the game for 48 hours without sleeping and beat it, and then wrote my review and passed out. I remember that. Good times. Anytime there's a game that needs to get done and we get the code late. Sometimes I get excited. I hope that a AAA game comes in late, because then I know they're going to have to come to me, step into my office. I have no loved ones. Like, I'll do whatever it takes. I don't care. I'll put it all to the side for you, my game. But
my fear is Starfield. Like, they better get that game out a couple weeks in advance.
I wouldn't count on it. Let's just say someone's on the bench for that one, just in case it comes in late. We'll see.
I mean, we're only a couple days from August. It doesn't look like Starfield's going to give you a ton of time as it is.
Yeah, I mean, people forget September 1st is the early release, right? If you buy or Travis's early access release, if you buy the big edition. So
give me 6 days. I don't care.
Yeah, you would think that they would get review copies out by the 3rd week of August, but we'll see.
Do it, Mr. Howard. Go ahead. Take a break.
At least on vacation for a week. You can't beat Starfield in 6 days, can you?
I could beat Starfield in 6 days.
Beat it? Yes. See all of it? Probably not.
I mean, nobody's going to see all of it in 6 days, but enough to review it, absolutely, in 6 days.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that's fair. I expect it to have the same level of plot line as Skyrim, so that's fine.
Exactly. You could probably beat the storyline in the first day, maybe the second day if you're taking your time, and then the rest of the review would be you doing all of the others, as much of the other stuff as you can, and just playing around and seeing what's in there, and then you'd have to write the review like probably 2 to 3 days before the embargo, so that you have enough time for video. I'm getting excited. Am I roused? I think I don't know what's happening.
You know what? We don't know, Travis.
I hope not.
Yeah. Is that what that feels like? I've never experienced this.
What is this tingling?
Yeah.
I like to think your fiance is just off camera for this.
Yeah. She's just like, oh, that poor lady.
But to close out on Crew Motorfest, the one thing I would say it does have is some really nice presentation. Like, it's got actual. I started the 911 series. Of course, you can do the Porsche series, which makes sense for me. So I started that, and you get like it has actual racing footage from Porsche through the decades, right? Like real racing footage and talking about their history and stuff, which I love that kind of stuff in a car game, because it pays homage to the brands and stuff, which is really neat. So it's got some really neat stuff like that in it, but we'll see. I'll write more on it later this week, so more to come on that. The other thing I wanted to talk about very quickly is a game called Kill Squad, which is a game that released, I believe, last year on PC only, Steam only. I think it was last year. You can check me. It's basically a top-down isometrical ARPG, again, like twin stick shooter. That can be played in 4-player co-op, and its loot system is kind of similar in a way to Destiny almost, where that you do these like 10 to 15 minute, like think of them as these kind of 2D top-down strikes, and then at the end you get a chest, which will give you like a mod and a weapon, et cetera, that you can get. That's all randomized, and then over time you build your character power and weapon power through materials and doing these missions over and over again. So I played that with Alex. He's going to do a write-up on it for us at SG. We played for a little while last night, played a little earlier in the week, and it's okay. It's getting a little more enjoyable as you get a little deeper into it and things start to open up a little bit, but the level design's pretty basic. The combat's pretty basic. The kind of music, there's just a lot of things that are very kind of straightforward and basic in the game from a design perspective.
What game is this?
But Kill Squad. One word. Yeah, like I said, released.
Why wouldn't it be? Compound word, Kill Squad.
One word.
It's releasing, or it just released on PlayStation this week, like Thursday or Friday. And so we were checking out the console release of it. And, if you like that co-op kind of top-down shooter, you may enjoy it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll give you this. Kill Squad as a single word, but it's a last name of a Star Wars character.
Oh, yeah?
My name's Jorik Kill Squad, Would you go for that? Does that make sense for you? Yeah.
I got to tell you, the chances of me purchasing a game called Kill Squad are exceedingly low.
Okay, but what if it was a Star Wars game and the main character's name was Jorik Kill Squad? Would you go for that at all?
I would chalk that up to being at roughly the writing caliber of modern Star Wars. So no,
How
I
dare
would
you,
also
sir?
avoid.
How dare you, sir? How dare you? Go read. Here. I'm going to do a PSA I don't normally do. You should read books. You should read books, everybody.
I did
There's some
read
great-
books. And where did it get me, right? They took away all my stories, Travis.
No, not those books. Those books were bad, largely. You should read the current books, the High Republic books. I would like to recommend them. I'm currently reading all of the High
read
Republic
Light
books.
of the Jedi. I
Great
have not
book.
read any of the other ones.
Oh, you should. You should. They get good. You got it. The Rising Storm. Yeah, good book.
Did I hear get
read
good?
Light of the Jedi. That is what I've read.
Okay, well, anyway, I'm rereading all the High Republic books, so you should read books. There's a lot of good Star Wars out there. Just not all of it is.
I have been reading
Boba
books, but I
Fett.
have moved away from Star Wars books. I don't have a lot of faith in Disney.
It's a foolish thing to do. Foolish thing to
Travis, you seem actually hurt by that. I still love Star Wars. I just don't like where it's
do.
going.
I don't know if you do. I don't think you love me anymore, Hogue.
That's Star Wars.
We had
You're-
something.
You're falling
And,
out.
Yeah. You're like that shush comment, and now I wear a bra. I don't cook for you anymore. And
You got to
voice
do
is
this in the
coming.
Raymond voice, by the way.
yeah,
No,
Raymond,
I
you
won't be
never
able to
call
take that.
anymore, Hogue.
Oh boy.
We had something. I thought we had a good relationship. I don't hear from you anymore.
No, what have I been reading? I've been trying to branch out a little bit.
You look like you're looking for your.
That
book
was-
right
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that
it's like,
was the
it's
end
like,
of that
what have I been?
I'm looking for a book.
Yeah, it's like, he's lost.
I have been reading something else.
I have.
Yeah.
No, I can't find it though, so I can't.
Oh,
reference
Hogue, that's an instruction manual. Are you okay over there?
it. It's just
What have I been
occupational,
reading?
it's occupational
It's like how to
therapy
change your
guidelines.
plumbing.
Oh, yeah.
This is what I read now.
Nice.
Okay,
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
It's a little sadder of a reading menu, I would say. I would love it if you'd write reviews of your occupational material. That'd be great.
That would be part of my therapist.
Yeah.
Oh my
Great.
gosh. Anything else game wise you've been playing you want to touch on, guys?
Yeah, actually. So I talked about Diablo 4 Season 1. We've talked about Remnant 2. I was also playing Final Fantasy 16. As I said, hustled to the end and then went back to play like the 35 subquests that they add right at the end. I actually have to say that they did a lot to kind of close character arcs and give, I don't know what to call it exactly, pre-epilogues, because it happens before the end of the game. But it's really kind of telling you where people are going in the directions that things are going to go in the world after the end of the game, that I really liked. It was too much, like in terms of the way that the pacing works, just dumping 36 side quests on you at the end. But I really liked it. That continues to be one of my favorite games of the year. I'm playing a really weird RPG on PlayStation called Lisa. I don't know if you know this one. This one actually came to my attention when people had flagged me in a press release from the company that makes this game for the changes they had to make to various item descriptions for Sony and Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
And because of that, I was intrigued by what this game was. It's like an old 2D kind of Earthbound looking RPG based in the post-apocalypse.
It says Lisa the Painful RPG.
It's both Lisa the Painful and Lisa the Joyful. I told you it was weird.
You know what? I think I'm going to stick with Kill Squad on this one. One word. This sounds like a lot easier for me to find in the store.
There's
You
a.
asked me what I was playing. This is what I'm playing.
All I did was put it in the Google Lisa game, and there's a picture that comes up with a guy with a beard with a red baseball cap with his belly sticking out, holding a baseball bat.
Is this a Steam game? Because this sounds awfully like a game that's only on Steam.
I mean, I'm sure it was a PC game first.
Oh, okay.
So I'm playing Lisa. That's been interesting.
It came out in 2014.
Well, it came to PlayStation last week.
Okay, that's a long It's a long journey. like, what? Okay, cool.
Yeah, well, so I've been playing that. That's been weird. And then Pikmin 4. We really should talk about Pikmin 4.
Oh, we should. Yeah.
Should
Let's
we?
talk about Pikmin.
We really should.
Ames,
right, Dan,
you know what?
Dan,
I'm tired of your negativity. I'm tired of it.
You listen to your
Dan, take over hosting. I got something just came up. I got to run.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
I need to call Ames out. Ames, just because they're Pikmin doesn't mean you can pick on them. Okay, they are.
I expect better from you, sir. That wasn't great.
Ames knows that they are based around the pick carrots of the Hokatake planet.
Obviously,
never heard of that before.
That's in the
Ames,
description.
You're the reason deforestation is happening because you don't stand by your plant life brethren, and you really ought to. Really ought to. And if you don't like a dog with no nose, Pikmin 4 has a dog with no nose.
It's not exactly a dog. It also has only 2 legs,
and no nose. Hoeg. That's the important part. It's got no nose.
Most of the Pikmin don't have noses. Only the red Pikmin have noses. Check it out.
They barely have faces.
Check it out.
Check it out. Look into it.
Educate yourself.
What's the lore behind only the red Pikmin having noses? I need the
lore.
So wait, one of the loading screens, right, is like a little Pikmin in the corner walking forward. My daughter says, "What color Pikmin is that, Dad?" And it's blue in the outline in the loading screen. And I said, "Well, I don't know. It looks like a Pikmin." And she's like, "No, it's the red Pikmin. They're the only ones with noses." I'm like, "Really? Oh, see, so get daughters." But Pikmin 4 is one of those really cool games where you don't know quite what to expect. And for the first little bit, you think it might just be doing the same thing it's always done. And then it just keeps opening up new stuff. So if you like the first couple Pikmin, Pikmin 4 is definitely a must-have. And it is going to do a lot more cool things that you're not expecting than I even want to go into right now.
Yes.
Okay.
I have not played much of Pikmin 4, but I will say so far it is a delight. I am very excited to play more of it in my free time. I still also have to play more than 10 hours of Tears of the Kingdom. What am I doing with my life? And I'm very excited with the dog with no nose and 2 legs to hang out with. It's going to be great. And these games are part of the reason I really love them is because they're so different in pace and tone than a lot of games I play. And I think we need more stuff like Pikmin in the world. And it's just, I love Remnant and I've been playing it for dozens and dozens of hours the past couple of weeks. But there's a lot of games that look like Remnant and feel like Remnant. There's plenty of Souls-likes. There are really no games like Pikmin out there. And there's something to be said about uniqueness and people trying new things. And Pikmin is a very weird game that does a lot of new stuff. And I'm just excited.
On the note of there are no other Pikmin games out there, I would like to talk about the other games like Pikmin that I also enjoy playing. Now, one of these is a defunct series called Overlord, which if you haven't played is an old gem. So
the first one was.
Go check out Overlord if you can.
I remember Overlord. Yeah.
The second game, which came out, I think it was available on Game Pass for a little bit last year. It might still be on Game Pass. I don't know. Is called Tinykin, which, apparently the Crew series, is just a naked ripoff of Pikmin. But go play it. It's cool. And Pikmin, if you don't know as a series, is essentially an environmental puzzle game. And is very chill, and you get a little army of guys that come with you that you have to figure out how to deploy across a number of obstacles in order to gain access to different areas of a map. And depending on which Pikmin you're playing, to get treasures or juice or to pay off your student loans.
What'd you call me?
I called you Juice.
Did you say about my treasure?
Yes. But Pikmin is a very cool series that has a very cool, as Travis suggests, tone and kind of pacing, because you can only be out during the day, or maybe not, but you'll see. You can only be out during the day, and so you have to do what you want to accomplish in a set amount of time before coming back into the ship each day and keeping track of how you are progressing. What did I say that was so funny?
Ains
lost
is
Ains.
busting
We've
up at
lost
something, and I'm laughing because Ains is laughing. That's really what I'm.
This conversation, just in general, just really got to me.
All right. Well,
asking in the chat, Pikmin does call it a dog. It's just
Oh
not
my
really
God.
a dog. He has a leaf tail. He's like a Pikmin dog.
What in the fuck? Are we talking
Yeah.
about
He's like a
I'm
Pikmin dog.
there's a lot of cool
What?
stuff happening in games that don't fit maybe the box you've put yourself in of the level of games you like. And my point is, you
Dog
should
with
try
no
other stuff.
nose and
One of the games I want to talk
Fair,
about that I
fair.
played this week that I've almost beaten, and I'm so glad I put the time aside to play this game, is a game called Ghost Trick.
Oh
It's
yeah,
an
yeah. I've
old
heard
game.
good things about that.
It's
Ghost
an old
Trick is
game.
great.
It's an old game that they remastered, but it's from the creator of Ace Attorney. I believe it was his first game, and I just played it because I missed that game back when it was on the DS or whatever platform it was on. I actually don't really know. Game Boy Advance? I can't. It's an old game.
It was a DS game. As a matter of
DS
fact,
game.
what you're playing on the Switch is kind of reorganized because it used to have images that went across both screens.
I'm playing it on Xbox weirdly. But
okay.
yeah. But I'm almost done with it, and I gotta say the story has really surprised me. It starts off with like very stupid stuff, which that's like an Ace Attorney thing where they make you think that it's dumb, and then the farther you get into it, you're like, oh damn, this is like substantial. Like they put time into this, and they set themselves up for like a series of big reveals at the end. And I'm just turning the corner on getting some of those payoffs, and it's just a great feeling. And a cool game that I'm probably going to finish it today or tomorrow before I start my next couple of reviews. So,
And it has a talking lamp and a dog with a nose.
It has a talking lamp and a dog with 9 tails.
I prefer my dogs to have noses typically.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
What if the dog is a ghost?
It is a ghost dog.
It is a
That's
ghost
fine.
dog.
Yeah,
Okay.
ghost dogs are
All
fine.
right. Ghost dogs are
They
cool.
still
As
keep
long
you
as they have
company.
noses, but they don't really have noses because it's ectoplasm, right? It's not real.
I don't think
Fair.
they describe what makes up the ghost in Ghost Trick. So
Okay, but
That's the trick.
we can agree the ghost that's the trick. I hate you so much for saying that. That was the dumbest thing that you could have said.
Yeah, but I knew it would get you.
Yeah, it did get me though. That's the trick. They
Yep.
don't say
We're a
it.
real
Yeah.
kill squad
That's
here.
Oh my god. All right, I'm moving on.
I
Anyway,
think we're all
Ghost
way
Trick.
too tired, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm way too
What's
tired. this morning.
up with the energy in this chat today? I don't know what it is, but I kind of like it. Playing it fast and loose.
Oh my god. By the way, while you guys have been talking, I've been looking at Lisa because I'm intrigued. And
I bought it.
very-
I bought it right after Hoeg recommended it. I buy games on
to
the
be
show
clear-
more often than I care to admit.
To be clear, I think if you look at the tape, I didn't recommend it. I said I'm playing it.
by the way, if you the $20 edition is Lisa the Painful. If you buy the definitive edition for $25, you get Lisa the Painful and Lisa the Joyful.
That's what I bought.
What?
Indie
Wait,
games,
what?
man.
Which version did I just buy?
Which are they two different games?
Yes, they're two games, and the definitive edition comes with both. There are even two different applications on your.
Well, and the funny thing is, there's Lisa the Painful definitive edition for 20. Then there's just Lisa definitive edition for 25, which includes
See?
Lisa the Painful and Lisa the Joyful.
See, I bought the $20 definitive edition of Lisa the Painful. Now
You're only going to
now
feel
what do I
pain,
do?
no joy.
Now what do I do?
What a
This
No
is
joy.
This
that
is
was.
honestly, I get why they call this game the Painful. I'm upset right now.
I didn't do it.
Hoeg, you've led me astray.
I didn't know you were going to go buy it.
I didn't know that either. This is whose fault could this be? Because I don't feel like it should be mine alone.
Okay, I will take the blame.
You have to refund it now.
But
Good
now I
luck.
have to refund it and buy Lisa the normal, Lisa the a la carte.
You're going to play the first 5 minutes of this game, and you're going to be like, "What the hell?"
That honestly, a lot of the games you recommend are like that. You recommended this game. I don't remember the name of it, but it was a girl running through pages of a book. And my fiance was like, that sounds good. Let's play that. And we played it. And she was like, I don't know why he brought this game up. I don't like it.
Okay, to be clear, I did recommend that one. So
You
can
recommended
totally
that
blame
one,
me on
and
that.
my fiance was disgruntled. by your recommendation.
I'm sorry I put your relationship at risk.
D, the
You did.
disgruntled.
No, honestly, the wedding is off, and frankly,
started
I think
wearing
you
a
had
bra.
something to do with it.
And
Just start wearing a bra.
not making sandwiches anymore.
Well, I don't recommend you lead off with a Lisa playthrough because it's super weird.
Well, I'm gonna open the application. I'm gonna hand her the controller, and I'm gonna say, "Hoeg did this to you." Okay?
Hoeg recommended this.
I'm gonna say, "Hoeg did this to you."
Opposite.
Yeah. Lisa the both. Somebody says that should be. That, yeah.
And D, the disgruntled. This is your game now in real life.
Lisa the disgruntled.
All right.
It's performative art. It really is the painful.
We got some funny super chats here. Do this conversation. We're gonna jump to these. Let's get them. Dano in the house.
Dano contribution. So Dan stays awake. I'm fine. I'm good.
He's just enjoying his time. You know, he's hanging out.
You know what I'm not doing right now? Stuff that I don't want to be doing. So this is all great.
Dano, thank you.
Lisa the Joyful is $10 standalone, which makes me think like, are they making a comment about how
what platform are you looking at?
Joy is cheaper, or is it part of a? I just want to know, is it like an intention? Are they trying to say like, are they making a statement? Like,
if you pay more, it's more painful. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. Lisa the Painful costs twice as much. Like, is there something to that? Was that part of like the game is the store? Is buying the game? Like, there's no game. It's literally just like you figuring out which version to get is the game. Is that? Oh my God. I'm changing my game of the year list. Ains, pull it up. We're getting Lisa the experience.
Pull it up.
Pull it up. Let's do it.
Man, I wish I could be there for you to actually play some of this because it is wild.
Oh boy. Yeah, I know. I'm looking at the art and I'm just like, I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see any of that because I feel like it'll fester in the back of my brain if I confront what I'm looking at right now.
I will tell you that I went to a rest point in order to heal up, and when I woke up, I was shot in the head. That's how this game works.
That happened to my cousin.
Spoilers.
Yes. There it went. Now I don't have to play the game.
All right.
Oh, that is San Francisco. Hello.
Go.
6-year-old. We dedicated an episode of this podcast to Hitman so that we can hear more from Dan. Listen, you guys, why are all these Dan super chats? Because
I like them.
Listen, I'm good.
I like
this is my level of participation. Always
Dan comes to Bitcast to relax.
Yes. Yeah, this is like me like going to the spa.
Listen, we met Dan because he was just a viewer, and we were like, do you want to just like sit? We need a fourth square. Do you just want to watch the show like on camera? And
we need somebody who sucks at most games that can just come in and make terrible comments. That's me.
Look, I love Dan because he is the every gamer of all of us. He is the every gamer, and I think it's nice because I get a little check-in. I get to see how probably most people feel based on Dan's reaction and his facial expressions, and it keeps me grounded. And I need to be kept grounded, as many of you know.
I just gifted him. Why did that just pop up? Oh, did you do that, Trent? Oh, I'm like,
no. I was gonna say I like this comment because it says ironically Lisa is about Catherine, because Lisa is actually about a guy named Brad.
Thanks, guys. I'm done.
What are we doing?
He's logging off. Dan's work here is done.
I'm gone. I don't know what just happened.
I actually just gifted Dan Lisa Definitive Edition.
I'll be honest, I've never been more confused about a game or what it was.
Guys,
or what it is.
Quick huddle between the L squares. If Dan loses the bet, let's make him play Lisa instead of Oxenfree 2.
I don't. Could we convince him that it's the same game? He doesn't know that much. Maybe we could be like, oh yeah, and then as an epilogue to Oxenfree 2, you like there's this other chapter called Lisa, and it's divided into 2 parts, 2 separate games. You got to buy both, Dan.
You remember that character in Oxenfree, Brad? Yeah, Lisa's about that.
He'll probably buy it. Honestly, he's not. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know.
Reading stuff right now on this game, and
we're gonna change the title of this.
Don't do that, Dan. I started doing that. And I felt weird ever
halfway
since.
through, and I'm done.
Yeah.
So
All right, Shoosh.
Hey, Dan, I'm also confused by all this. I want to go for a beer. I don't drink, but I will join you for a Coca-Cola for
Wow,
sure.
he doesn't even drink. All the vices that Dan has, and he won't. He's not even someone you can have a beer with. That's like,
Right. Listen, it's
like,
Twinkies or beer. So you just you prioritize. You know, I'm going to eat this giant pizza by myself, or I'm going
that
to
is
have
a
a
very
six-pack of something else.
very strange forced decision there. It's Twinkies or beer. Sounds like a very strange line in the sand to draw in life. But you know what?
By
I
the
love
way,
you, Dan.
we have another. Thank you, Shoosh. Appreciate you. Rob.
To Train Valley 2, my addiction for the past week. Also, I'll include the word Hitman for Dan.
We got 4 Dan super chats in a row.
4 Dan super chats in a
Pretty
row.
Dan's look. We're all here just for fun, but Dan's the only one bringing in money. You know what I mean? people are super chatting for that guy. So
right.
I don't know what Train Valley 2 is, by the way, Rob.
No,
but I'll look it up. It's less confusing than Lisa, and I don't even know what it is. I promise.
Train games are awesome. I love train games.
Thank you. Oh my gosh! All right, I don't even know where we were, honestly.
That was what we were playing.
Which
that was currently playing, and I think now we're at the end of the show.
Wow. Hoeg, did you want to comment quickly on Xbox and ABK being delayed to October, which you talked about as a possibility last week being delayed? We saw 3 months here instead. I think the 30 days you said, sometimes it is.
I would have advanced 30 days. It would seem to me, based on what was released to us, that it's a 90-day extension, which suggests that one side or another thought 60 days was appropriate and the other side asked for 30 more. That tends to be how this goes.
Gotcha.
And so delayed to October is probably a little bit strong. It's probably going to close before the October, I think it's October 18th date now, because I keep saying 30 and 90, but lawyers don't like math, so we just use the date in the next month. So October 18th is 90 days from July 18th. Don't look it up, just trust us.
It's easier that way.
Yeah.
Okay. But you think
I would
think there's a possibility they close before that date?
Yeah, I would expect September. I would think one of the parties, probably Microsoft, was aimed at a 60-day closing and agreed to a 30-day more than that. That tends to be how this goes. 30, 60, or 90 were really the choices. I had advocated for 30 last week because I didn't think that was a lot to solve, and I thought they were closer logistically. The one thing that you can take from 90 days is that I don't think Microsoft was close logistically really at all. And when I say logistically, I mean you got to get a bunch of signatures in one room and you got to get a bunch of money moved around the world, and they weren't ready for that.
Gotcha. Okay. Fair enough. So obviously we'll keep you posted on that. It seems like at least probably for the coming weeks, there really won't be a whole lot on this in the near term. Is that fair to say?
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't expect much of anything. I mean, I think that the United Kingdom CMA, the Competition and Markets Authority, is going to be looking at some kind of structural proposal. You saw some people online pulling out aspects of the amended merger agreement and talking about that structure, which has Microsoft and Activision allowed to kind of restructure the deal around the edges without having to go and re-amend the agreement. So one would expect that they are going to agree to some kind of restructuring or divestiture or both to get the United Kingdom to agree to everything and then move forward from there. But the United Kingdom, at least right now, has said that they haven't seen the proposal, which is a surprise to me based on the timing of Microsoft agreeing to delay their appeal. But if that's in fact the case, we don't know what they're going to do or how long they're going to take. So that's why you see 90 days, is that they're giving the United Kingdom enough time to essentially decide that this is okay with them. They're being, I don't know how I would describe this in interpersonal terms, they're being polite. They could push harder on this. They could knock in the door a little bit more. But as we say in economics and game theory, it's not a single play game, right? So Microsoft has to continue to work in the United Kingdom, has to continue to interact with various regulatory bodies there. They don't just want to be a bull in a china shop or assholes that are otherwise getting this deal across the finish line, hell or high water. So it appears they're trying to take a polite approach with the CMA and to some extent with the FTC, although a little less polite there.
Yeah. And by the way, you just swore for the third time. So yeah,
it's over.
I appreciate it, but
that's it. He summoned Candyman. I don't know what happened.
He summoned Lisa the Lisa the painful now.
Hey, I don't even realize I'm doing it. So you got that going for you.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
cool.
We've reached a new level of Hoeg not caring. It's pretty
Well, as always, appreciate the insight, the clarity, and obviously when any news does drop on that, we'll have more on that in the future. I think the last thing I want to mention was about San Diego Comic-Con that's going on right now, and a couple game-related news items out of there. And I know this one I was talking to Dan about specifically because of Spider-Man. So Spider-Man 2, PlayStation announced is going to get a themed bundle where you can buy a PS5 console with themed Spider-Man 2 plates and controller. They are also selling the controller and the plates separately. Obviously, if you already have a PS5 and just want to put those on. What do you guys think about this in general? I know we were joking prior to the show, but for me, I don't know what it is about PlayStation themed stuff. Like I spend money on freaking everything gaming related. I want to buy theme stuff for PlayStation. I just feel they do a really poor job of their designs. Like who designs this stuff? It looks very cheap to me all the time. The Hogwarts controller, the Final Fantasy controller, the Spider-Man controller, they all look very generic, like Mad Catz designed them or something.
I don't tend to be a theme console guy. I think the only one I can even think of buying recently was I got the Tears of the Kingdom Switch because I thought it was cool looking, but
okay,
not usually what I go for either way. But yeah, I tend to agree. I don't think the Spider-Man PlayStation is very impressive.
No. The original, I prefer the original Spider-Man PlayStation, which is the stock default PS3
with the text font.
The font that said PlayStation 3 that was in the exact font of Spider-Man. It was literally a Spider-Man console.
No, it was definitely.
But like even the PlayStation 4, like they had a red console and put a white sticker on it, and it's like you can't do anything better than that.
Wait! PlayStation 4 also had the custom Destiny console, which is one of the more beautiful consoles in games.
They had a couple cool PS4s. I actually have a couple sitting around. I got the God of War one right there, which is.
I mean,
bad.
In general, I would say themed consoles are pretty hit or miss. So this was a miss.
For sure.
I think it's a miss. I saw it and I was immediately like, glossed over. I don't care. Move on.
Yeah.
No. That said, I'm buying the black Xbox Series S. What's wrong with
me? Dan, Spider-Man, man.
Because it's extra storage.
Trailer looked good. The console itself looks like but there's so many other options to go. I mean, you can go to was it like toasty stickers, or I think that's what they're called. You can get like which is what I did, and I just got like a giant sticker that went on the side of mine. I've got like 3 different sets of.
Is your PlayStation still made of leather? Has that burned up yet?
No, that is not.
Fire hazard?
I forgot about that.
Yes, I still I don't have the leather in the center anymore. Now it's like a matte black kind of thing. It's called the Icon thing it's from a D brand actually. What's that guy's name? The tech guy, Marquis.
D-Brand's the company that basically tells PlayStation, "Screw you, we're gonna do what we want."
Yeah,
Dan really misses the days of owning a Motorola Razr, where he could snap off that plastic, frame and put a bejeweled one on, or a custom. I remember
Nokia
those days.
Ones,
yeah.
The colored Nokias. Yeah,
those were the days, bro. You would put. I want some flowers on my case.
Yeah,
just snap this boy off.
I don't even know what the hell that is.
Beautiful.
Marcus Brownlee, is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what he's got. It's called Icons, and he did a thing with D-Brand, and it's just like a matte black, these little kind of icons on them. Anyway, that's what's on it now, and just the standard black plates. But I've got a Spider-Man one that I got from somewhere, and it's cheaper probably too, just to grab the $20 sticker or whatever it is for the plates. I don't even know why they try. I'm excited for the game though, and the trailer looks good.
That's what I was going to ask you guys. I'm not. Yeah. This isn't a game for me personally, but I know the story trailer. Quite a few people seem pretty hyped about it.
Yeah, I want to see where it goes. I want to see.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be really good.
Awesome.
But Insomniac is also one of my favorite developers, if not.
I think they're the best Sony has.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
Well, for sure.
It's a good buy.
They just seem to do a really good job all the time, and they're able to optimize their games well. It's just they just do a good job. So I'm excited for it, man. That's probably the one coming out from here to the end of the year that I'm most excited about. The Spider-Man.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, that's your jam right there. So
Yep.
Spider-Man
Cool.
2 and Alan Wake 2 come out within like 3 days of each other. It's
yeah,
tough week.
I don't have to worry about that.
and something else. I know we talked about it before, but there's something else that same week too. That's big.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's Forza, right? It's the end of October.
October.
Yeah,
Forza
Forza is that week. Yeah, October 13th or 10th, I think. Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, it's a lot. Well, that's cool. And then I don't know. I can't remember if any of you guys are big Mortal Kombat fans. I'll be honest with you, my brain. But Mortal Kombat 1, Ed Boon and the group there at NetherRealm are San Diego Comic-Con, and they obviously announced that part of the combat pack that they do with the characters is going to include Takeda and Ermac and Quan Chi, which are kind of classic MK characters. People very excited about Takeda. But then it's also going to include Homelander, Peacemaker, and Omni-Man as kind of these, themed cameos that they like to do in their games. So people seem to be pretty excited about that. I'm one of the weird ones that doesn't like the cameos, really, personally.
I like the cameos, but to me, it feels like they ran out. They ran out of interesting people to add, and so here's Omni-Man and Homelander.
Wait, Homelander I thought was a great ad.
Did you?
Because they already developed the moveset for Superman and Injustice. Homelander, he fits right in with Mortal Kombat. He feels like a Mortal Kombat character, both in attitude and in goriness. I think that's a great ad. I'll be honest, that Omni-Man did nothing for me, and John Cena as a Peacemaker, I was like, okay, whatever. But yeah, I thought Homelander I was like, oh, that's a good one. That's a good idea. It fits right in.
Well, and it'll coincide with the boys coming back later this year too, season 4. So
yeah, it just the cameos now at this point, maybe it's live services as well. It just feels like Fortnite, right? It's like whatever.
I wouldn't describe Mortal Kombat as live service.
Right. I wouldn't describe Mortal Kombat as live service either. I'm saying
I think he meant
and
live service
games that we're used to seeing IPs and advertising for whatever the current movie or TV show is coming out. It's just not that impressive. And yeah, to me, this particular group feels like, oh, we've got cameos at home.
I just think that
Fortnite recently did Dragon Ball. That was pretty sweet. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did not. No, the last thing I saw Fortnite run was Transformers, right?
Okay. Yeah, I'll just remember Dragon Ball happened like earlier this year, and I thought that was one of the better crossovers they've ever done. They got the art style perfect. You run around and you feel like you're.
My favorite stuff in Fortnite is still the Dune stuff they ran from a couple of years ago because it's just ridiculous looking. I love to roll in with Paul Atreides being super serious.
I like Star Wars. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, but Star Wars has been in video games enough where it's like, yep, they're Star Wars.
You're like, that's just a check on your list. Star Wars,
it's not a lot of games that have Paul Atreides.
But in how many of them can Darth Vader dab?
Well, that's the fun, right? You get these various characters to do ridiculous dances. But
like Kratos.
Mortal Kombat, I think it should be great. I love NetherRealm stuff, and I think that they do some of the best single-player fighting game stuff in the business.
Yes.
But the cameos themselves are not driving my interest.
No, they don't. What I was going to say is that Mortal Kombat has such a history now, and there's so many characters that they have created through the decades from Mortal Kombat that there's always characters in Mortal Kombat lore that are left out because they obviously can't have like 50 playable characters. It's like I'd much rather just see 3 more characters from Mortal Kombat history than the cameos. But of course, I understand why they do the cameos. I mean, I get it, but it just doesn't do much for me personally.
Well, I like the Terminator, and I like some of the things that they've added in the past, but these ones in particular, just, you got Amazon Prime show characters. It's not the same level of interest.
Bro.
Man, wait till they bring the Wheel of Time guys in.
Yeah. There you go. Mortal Kombat 1 DLC Pack 2, Willow.
But come on, the Boys is like that's a big,
and it's a comic, not really just a show, right? Yeah. It's a show based on a comic. Yeah.
Well, that model is certainly the dude from the show, right?
It is, but my point is that the Boys is like it's big. Like you can reduce it to it's an Amazon Prime show, and most Amazon Prime shows nobody watches, but The Boys is like the exception. That's a huge
So
thing
is
right now.
Invincible though.
I mean, you'd have to look at
You
the
know?
numbers, but I just think this might be an echo chamber circle type thing. I don't think it's a super pop culture invested show. It's certainly not Terminator and Alien and some of the other things that they've added in the past.
Well, Terminator and Alien are more from your era. I think that there's a whole group of younger people that probably identify more with Homelander, and also I would
with Homelander.
Not identify with him, but they're more familiar with him. And I would also
I hope you don't identify with Homelander.
I hope not. I would also wager that there's a lot of overlap with people who watch The Boys and people who like Mortal Kombat. Those shows, I mean, come on, to me, that's like if you play Mortal Kombat and watch The Boys, like I know exactly what you're doing on the weekends. You know what I mean?
Rather people watch the good shows, but you're
a lot of San Francisco hellos, am I right?
A lot of San Francisco hellos happening in that guy's weekend. Yeah, that's for sure.
Oh my God.
I don't mind The Boys, by the way, but I don't love it.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can not like that show, and I would be like, all right, that's understandable. It's a little extreme. It's a very specific type of show, but also lots of people do like it. I don't think The Homelander is a minor get. I think that's like that's an impressive one. I don't know about the other ones. I'm with you on some of the other ones. Omni-Man, I'll be honest, I don't even know who the heck that is.
It's the other Amazon Prime show.
I was waiting for Dan.
Comic book. Jeez,
okay,
I mean, what is happening here?
It's called Invincible.
It's Invincible. You've never seen that show?
Nope.
Travis, this is right up your alley. Oh my God. Go watch it. Go watch it. It's got Steve Moran in his Invincible.
I'll watch it if I don't get a San Francisco.
It's actually a very highly rated show, to be serious. I haven't watched it, but I know it is.
Look, I don't watch shows. I don't know how to explain it to you guys. I don't watch.
That's the Amazon Prime motto. I haven't watched it, but I hear it's good.
That's kind of true. Yeah. Apple TV shows as well.
The Terminal List, with what's his face?
Apple TV. Now, see if they added Ted Lasso to Mortal Kombat 1, I'm there.
Yes. Yeah, that would be awesome. Roy Kent would be probably a little better.
He just says believe as he tears your head off.
Yeah. And then the crowd you hear the crowd chant for him as you're playing. Yeah. That'd be great.
Or Trent Krim, Independent.
That's
that
right.
Would be amazing.
The Independent.
The Independent. Yeah, sorry.
That's his character name. It's just The Independent.
The Independent.
I'm just going to let this conversation wash over me as I don't understand. So let's move on.
You need to watch Ted Lasso. Great show.
I know everybody says that, and I say to them, "No, I don't. Watch me not do that."
You should
watch Ted Lasso, but you are missing out on good content.
I hear that it's funny.
It's great. All right. With that, with the topic, then we'll close on the last thing of Twisted Metals this week, boys.
Yeah,
speaking of high tier TV show content, Twisted Metal launches in 4 days as we're talking right now this week.
What happened
I'd rather drag myself over Twisted Metal than watch that movie. I swear to God.
Or Anthony Mackie's career.
Man.
I don't know. What is he doing?
He did a terrible season of a Netflix show. Now he's doing a terrible Peacock show. He did a terrible Disney Plus show. He's just going through the streamers.
Yeah. It's bad.
Was the terrible Disney Plus show the Hawkeye one? Was that
Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
No.
He's Falcon. He's not Hawkeye. Wrong bird.
I can't keep track of it. I can't keep track of all these heroes. I know he's in the MCU. I don't know much about what's going on with the MCU right now.
Yes, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was god awful.
Yeah, he was in a Black Mirror. I'll give him that.
Was he?
That was good. Yeah, in one episode. I mean, it's Black Mirror. He's in one episode, right?
Wait, the most recent season? Oh, this is okay. Yeah, based on that answer, I'm going to say no because the recent season was really recent. Like you would know if it was this season. So.
Yeah, I just watched it like 2 weeks ago, and I don't know if I'd know still. But
in short answer, outside of what happened to Anthony Mackie's career, Twisted Metal looks god awful. So
it really does. It really, truly, truly does. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it anyway.
Let's watch Fast and Furious. Come on. Let's be real.
Okay, let's not dive.
Let's be real. Fast and Furious. Let's go.
I'll watch Twisted Metal this week and report back. You watch Flash?
I did watch the Flash this week. So
the movie?
How bad was that?
Yes, not as bad as you probably think. It is not good, but it has some moments that are good.
This sounds like a Lisa the Painful recommendation I'm getting right here.
Again, I didn't recommend.
Not as painful as you would think.
I mean, not as painful as you think. That's a ringing endorsement. That's yeah.
No,
It
I
only
like
hurts
the
for a
Flash.
second.
I like the Flash considerably more than I thought I would, but all the complaints about the CG are accurate, and the dead bodies that they used towards the end of the movie are really annoying because they don't have anything to do with the plot at all. So it's like, what are you doing, WB? Which is
they don't know what they're doing. They've made it exceedingly clear they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, but I mean, if people think that James Gunn is going to save DC Comics, I think they might have another thing coming.
We'll see.
Yeah,
Got a lot to prove. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch it all catch on fire. It's gonna be fun.
Burning around them. All right. A couple super chats came in. Midnight Drury.
Midnight Drury for the swear jar, $5 super
The
chat.
swear jar.
Thank
Wow.
Also,
So,
shout out to
Hoax to just go on profanity laced rants is what I'm. This is a.
We're doing our part over here.
I'm down for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm down for
Yeah.
it.
Nope.
Also, shout out to Drury for gifting a membership on both channels as well. Thank you for that.
Nice.
Thank you indeed.
All right. Brentwood Chic. I'll say it properly
Nice.
this week.
Captain Fraud Esquire.
At your service.
Yeah, I was going to say, Travis is really taking a chance there that all of his comments at IGN are just going to call him Captain Fraud from now on. We'll see.
There you go. Yeah. Captain Fraud.
Hashtag Captain Fraud. Can we get that going? That'd be good.
I mean, I'd be okay with that. I mean,
Yeah,
that would
I
honestly
like it.
be an improvement based on what they already call me. You guys don't understand the levels of depravity I soak
You
in
see Captain
every week.
Fraud everywhere. You're like, thank you.
I'm like, thank you. That's my.
Then right behind it, though, it has to be hashtag Travis did nothing wrong. So
That's right.
let's just
True.
make sure. Yeah.
Very
those
Captain Fraud
together.
did nothing wrong,
Yeah.
which is got to be inaccurate by that guy's.
Thank you, Brentwood. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Wow. Wow. $5 super chat. Never thought I'd be donating to Hoag's swear jar, but here we are.
I actually don't remember doing it at all. So
People are paying
I'll have to
you
talk
to
to my
swear.
therapist about that.
People are paying
No,
you
don't.
to swear.
Let
That
it
is
go.
a reverse swear jar,
Let it
by
go.
the way. Let it,
Yeah.
okay.
I love it. I
No,
love
they're funding it so I could take money out of it.
it.
And put it into another jar. I'm confused.
A lot of jars.
And I appreciate
Dano.
this from Nicole. I'll come right back to that.
Oh,
one.
sorry.
No, I appreciate this one from Nicole. I don't have this kind of power. I doubt that Lisa's sales will change much at all. But
They made at
Actually, they
least
went up
one-
380%. So two more copies.
Yeah, they made at least one sale erroneously from me. So there you go.
You got the false definitive edition. See, there's
I'm
two
gonna-
definitive editions. How would you not know that? God.
I'm gonna put Hoag's full name in the "How did you hear about us?" comments there.
And Dano, $4.99 super chat. Dear Dan, I'm getting kind of hungry. What should I get for lunch? I am gonna look for some like a good ramen place.
Ooh,
Jinya.
Was it Jinya? Where's that at?
It's in Blue Hawk down from me.
It's always by you. Do you ever go anywhere outside of your little 5-mile area?
What? Sorry, guys, to
I know.
distract us for a Kansas City local ramen
I would
chat.
love to know what Kansas City ramen is like because that sounds
As usual, Travis
nightmare.
knows nothing about what he's talking about.
Yeah.
nightmarish.
All brisket.
No,
It's all
there's
brisket.
there's another place that starts with an A on 119th, right by Target. We just went there the other night. It's very, very good.
this is
There's
news.
a Target
you
on
can use
Metcalf
right
and there's
here.
a Target on Black
Yeah.
Bob.
No, 119th. 119th.
Yeah,
No,
what are
over
you doing
by
after
you.
this?
Over by you.
Oh,
You want to hang out?
oh,
buddy?
yeah, I know. Right by the Olive Garden there.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Go there.
Yeah, I know what we're talking about.
Yeah, next
Okay.
to the Olive
We're good.
Garden.
We
That's how
we
you
solved
look
it.
good.
All right, we're good.
We solved
We're
it.
good. Thank you.
Okay. There you go. Thank you, Dano. See, we go to extra effort for super chats here, right? Now, if
Right.
you're in the Kansas City suburban local outskirts and you want some good ramen, we got you covered. It's fine.
Yeah, we
You
know
just
where
have
to
to
get
remember
non-good
which
barbecue
episode it
chicken if you
is.
ever need it.
I also love that Travis thinks only San Francisco has good food, and his
Travis believes
misconceptions
all
about
culture ends
the
at
U.S. in general are so bad.
To be
It's
fair,
rather comical.
it is one of the best cities for Japanese food in the world.
See?
so
He
it's no big
thinks
deal.
it's the best at everything, and it's
Well,
clearly
we don't have any
Yeah, man.
Asian people here, so in Kansas City.
Yeah.
So it's
well,
impossible.
Asian's
Yo,
a broad term. I wouldn't say Asian.
Right. I'm
First
saying
of all-
Asian, Indian, anything.
I'm not
Nothing.
saying Asian. My neighborhood is 80% Asian. All right.
Man, I tell you what,
a lot of Asian people here.
New place in Northville just opened up that has Indian
Let's go.
non-bread paninis that I love.
Indian non-bread paninis.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, look,
that sounds good.
It sounds like an experiment. Let's go for it.
That sounds
They
good.
are awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think we've covered the gamut today, guys. We're ending on
Cracker Barrel at the end of the day, so it doesn't really matter.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Guys, thank you, chat. Thank you for hanging out with Comic, Ramen, Lisa, Brad, Catherine, Gaming, Clothes chat today. It's been interesting and fun. We a couple things to shout out from the season gaming side. We talked about Remnant 2 for a while, of course. Excuse me. A couple other reviews are for My Friendly Neighborhood, this kind of goofy Five Nights at Freddy's kind of style horror game up as well. And then Spirit Hunter Infinite Horde, which is kind of playing in the Vampire Survivors space. So if you like Vampire Survivors, check out Elu, who did Remnant 2's review as well. Check out his review on Spirit Hunter. You may want to check that out. It actually seems to be quite good with a lot of depth to it in that space. And then my video on the Audeze Maxwell headset is up. You can check that out. Highest recommendation for this headset. It's fantastic.
Yes,
you can check out the video.
Might want to buy one if you watch that review.
Yeah, it's highly recommended. Yeah, it's an excellent headset. And then do have another statue video probably this week. It's a gigantic set of boxes upstairs that I've got to manage. But we'll get it done. Dark Souls, Nameless King. So I'm excited about that one. Travis
is going to live in an increasingly small area of his house. The rest is taken up by statuary.
Yeah, there's I say every time it's getting ridiculous, it's beyond ridiculous at this point. So Travis, you said you're working on 2 reviews. Can you say what they are?
I can. Yeah, my 2 reviews are Blasphemous 2 and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game.
Nice. We're reviewing that as well. Sweet.
So yeah, I'm going to work on both of those this week in no particular order. Both of my bosses are gone. Tom Marks is on paternity leave and Dan is on vacation for a week. So he was basically just like, you know what, review whatever you want, man. Let me know how it goes. And I was like, cool. I will do.
Travis is running the store.
I'm running the store. I mean, at least I'm running my own schedule. He was just like, yeah, man, whatever you can work on next week, have fun. I was like, sweet. Yeah, that'll be good. And then, I've got a couple previews going live pretty soon here. And then you can also watch me on Lawyers and Dragons, most recent episode. Yes. I made a guest appearance as a grifty captain named Leox Fraud, who I had a lot of fun on that show. Hogue, thanks for inviting me. It was fun hanging out with your crew. I wanted to say this at the beginning of the show because I'm glad I remembered. I have never seen Lawyers and Dragons, but based on Hogue, I had an idea what his character would be. I'm like, he's Hogue, right? He's like probably lawful good. He's probably like a paladin or something boring like that. And I went in with that expectation, and it was the exact opposite. Hogue's character is a hulking person with a tiny brain who does the most crazy, destructive actions. It's like you asked him, like, Hogue, try to make the session as like chaotic and like dangerous as possible. And Hogue is like, I will make that decision. So it was great. Good on Hogue for playing outside of himself, because I was a lawful
good paladin. I just have certain idiosyncrasies.
Are you? I don't know about all that.
I think technically I'm chaotic good if I were to look at my sheet.
Chaotic good. There you go. Yeah, so that makes more sense. But yeah, his character is crazy and hilarious. So it was cool meeting the crew, and it was a good time. So you can see that, and I'm glad to hang out with you guys. It was fun. This show felt like a hangout,
Yeah, it was fun. I literally lost it at one point. I couldn't recover from laughter at that moment. It's one of those where you start laughing and you just can't stop. So I just let you guys go. Hogue.
Yes. That was my entry point into saying what I'm doing, right? Okay. Yes. So I was on Lawyers and Dragons yesterday as well. I haven't done a virtual legality this week, but I am likely to do one sooner or later with the FTC removing their adjudication out of administrative court and some other stuff happening with Microsoft and ABK. But I haven't done that yet. Stay tuned to my channel for more of that, probably at some point. And then Lawyers and Dragons, not this next week, but in a couple weeks because we have this next week off. And yeah, come visit on the hoeglaw YouTube channel. We're going to put up some more content. We've got some fun shorts. I would expect that Captain Leox Fraud Esquire will be appearing in some of the shorts that we add to the channel this coming week. So we'll see.
Fantastic. Awesome. All right, chat, you've been awesome. Anyone listening later, thank you so much as always. Appreciate all the support. We are going to head out from this wild show, and we will, of course, see you next Sunday. Until then.
See ya.